This is the old school Let's Play world. I've spent the last 6 months crafting and shaping the mining colony. This movie picks up right after the defeat of the dragon. If you haven't checked that one out yet, it's worth looking at. I went pretty hard on the cinematics, but the dragon fight, that's a cool one. But don't worry, there's really no need to go back and watch if you don't want to. This story picks up end busting. We get our first elytra for the world, and we start using it to our advantage almost immediately. Do you enjoy it? I appreciate it if you could leave a like on the video, helps a lot. Subscribe if you want to see more. Enjoy. Hey, how's it going? Today, we're going to do some end busting, and we're going to start figuring out our path for our new mining colony. I also kind of want to review the area where we're going to build the colony and think about how we want to do the terraforming and maybe get started on a little bit of that today. But right now, all we need in the end dimension is I want to get 2 elytras, 1 as a backup, and then we also need to get at least a decent little stockpile of shulker boxes. Is that Enderman mad at me? Okay, careful where you F5 in the end dimension. Guy was very upset. Yeah, anyway, we need to get 2 elytras, 1 to get around and 1 just as a backup, and then a decent stockpile of shulker boxes. We're going to be moving a lot of our stuff to the new area when we were building, and I don't want to make a million trips back and forth. It'll be good to have a little stockpile. Guy does not give up. All right, into the end. Oh, there was 2. That explains why they were so relentless. But yeah, into the end, do a little busting. So you can see I built a beautiful staircase to the end. Probably should have brought more blocks, actually, in hindsight, but I don't want to go back to the base, so we're just going to mine some endstone when we get in here. Oh, well, oopsies. If you don't know, you can ender pearl into these, but it's also just kind of a nifty little trick to put a trap door above it. Then it just kind of puts you into swim mode, and then boom, you're through. Just like that. All right, let's explore.
Tempted by your smile, I was tempted, and for a little while I was certain that I will be the one to change you, and you will be mine. You will be mine. I was tempted.
And there it is. 1 elytra, fully enchanted with Unbreaking 3 and Mending, and 1 backup, which I'm not going to enchant yet because I don't have that many books, and I don't feel like going through the effort to get it enchanted. It's only for in case of emergency anyway, and I actually don't even plan on wearing either of them right now, if I'm being honest. So I'm actually just going to put them both right there in our ender chest, and we're not going to carry an ender chest because we're starting to get geared up enough that we can do something like that. Which is why, so like everybody in Minecraft kind of has their own inventory management scheme. This is a pretty common one. So I just carry my ender chest around, and then I put shulkers in it, obviously, and I keep my fortune pickaxe in there as well. Then things like the hoe, which we're pulling out pretty frequently to get things like saplings. We need to get a silk touch hoe as well so that we can gather leaves much more efficiently, especially going forward where we want to do a lot more greenery work. I know I just said I'm putting this away, but actually now that I think about it, I think we're going to get our first use case out of this thing. That is going to be to get a moss block. We're just going to fly around until we find a shipwreck in the ocean, and then hopefully loot it and get a moss block. Once we have a moss block, we kind of have everything we need to get started in our new city. Then we'll start working on the pathway. And there it is. We got our moss block. We also found a buried treasure map and a couple coastal trims, I think, but those are less important. This is the thing we needed. There was literally 1 moss block. It was the first shipwreck we found though, so pretty good luck. And with 1 moss block, we can create more moss blocks. So I'm actually gonna run down into the mine real quick and just kind of spread this with some bone meal and just get ourselves a decent little stockpile. And then as soon as I'm done with that, I'll check back in because I think it's time to get our horse. Got our saddle, a lead, and I brought diamond horse armor. I'm curious if the resource pack that I'm using will hide horse armor as well. I'm guessing it won't, but I just want to know for sure. That would be nice because I would like to have a good looking horse as well as a fast and jump high horse, which, you know, how likely is it we can find a horse that does all 3 things? I don't know, but that's what we're going to try to do. Will this spread into the wall? It won't. Okay, so this is a don't do this. This is a bad idea. Let's go back up to the surface, I guess. Did we get any moss carpets? Yeah, been waiting to do this since like what? When did we build Greg's Tavern? I think we built Greg's Tavern in like episode 3, and we had those annoying wood planks that I wanted to cover with a moss carpet. Well, we finally have one, and we learned how not to farm moss. So I guess we'll just kind of go out away from the house a little bit and dig a little hole in the ground. It's probably the best way to do it. Right. That one I think we're gonna leave because it at least kind of blends in with the path block. But this one, this bush is ugly, first of all. I didn't want it to spread this far. I think if we just do that, and just like that, it blends right in. Is 2 too many to blend some of the cobblestone too? I don't think so. I think that'll work. And then maybe one there too. Oh, there we go. It's subtle. I don't know if I love it, but it's definitely an upgrade, I think. All right, let's go farm up some moss real quick, and then we're gonna tame a horse. All right, we got our elytra wings. We got our moss checked off. Now the last thing we need before we start our journey across the plains is a solid horse. I know there's quite a few of them over here. There's not really a style or a pattern that I prefer over any other. Again, I just would really prefer one that can jump reasonably high and run reasonably fast. We're not going for the best horse in the game right now because, you know, it's really luck of the draw unless you're going to spend a lot of time breeding them. We've got a path to build. I have seen this one in the distance though, and it's weird. It almost looks, doesn't it almost look like one of the skeleton horses? Like I keep double taking on it because it's just such a weird color and pattern. So let's give it a shot. Oh crap, are we supposed to feed them? Right? No, you just ride them, right? Yeah, you just jump. You just can't be holding the saddle. Well, it's certainly a stubborn horse. There it is. There it is. Oh, that feels pretty fast. Is that like a 1 block jump? Is that even 2 blocks? Oh no. Can't even jump out of a fence. Yeah, a perfect jump. Like if you get it in like the little yellow on the little meter down there, it can just clear 2 blocks. That's not great, but it is very fast, I think. So give me the saddle back. Oh, we should have made a fence post. Crafting table number 739, just so we remember who you are and where you are. Solid contender. We don't have a lot of jumping and we're gonna build roads and bridges, so I don't think the jump is as important, but we'll try a couple more and see if we can get one that's a little more versatile. You're the closest to the tavern. I probably should have tried this one first, but I really like the looks of that white one, and it is fast. So, oh, you can't be holding. It's annoying. It's like I'm not trying to feed the horse steak. I'm not a monster. Very slow, and you can't jump. I'll let you live for now because I do think wild horses in the plains is just a good aesthetic. But if we get a little too confused after jumping on a few of these guys, we might have to thin the herd some. All right, decently fast. Definitely not as fast as the white one. Is that even jumping? Maybe I just don't know what I'm talking about with the jumping. I thought horses could jump like 4 blocks if they were like a good jump. Yeah, this guy can't even clear 2 blocks. Okay, you're even worse. All right, we'll get the other solid brown horse next, and then we'll do the other piebald horse. Again, slower than the first horse, and I think it's the same jump. Now I'm starting to wonder if a 2 block jump is acceptable, or am I just getting like crazy bad luck on these horses? I actually kind of like this red color. I think I just said that I was going to do the other piebald next, but I kind of like this like maroon, especially with the saddle on him. I think it'll look pretty good. Decently fast. That jump seemed whelming. Yeah, he's a better jumper. I don't know if he's quite as fast though. I think I'm more worried about speed. Yeah, he's pretty slow. I don't know why my initial reaction there was that his speed was fine, because this actually seems pretty slow. Oh, this one was the easiest to train. Oh, very slow. All right, sorry. We'll ride him over though. Save ourselves some food. And notice this horse has 1 extra heart. I don't remember if this guy had extra health or not. Is health also a stat on horses? The more you know. Nope, this guy has less hearts. Oh, that's kind of annoying. But if he's significantly faster, oh yeah, it's just night and day. All right, this is our steed. Oh yeah, real quick, let's see if the armor is not hidden on him. What's it look like though? It's not bad. It's weird, like, is his coat showing through that at all? Or is that just the shading on the diamond armor? I don't think I've ever seen that before, like, in person, but especially with his lower hearts, I think we're gonna have to keep the armor on. I also have never tried to enchant horse armor. Can you enchant horse armor? Might have to go do some science real quick. Oh, this is gonna be nice. Check out our path on a horse. Seems like it's totally horseable. That was the goal when I came through here before. All right, can I saddle him up, or do you have to get off, then leash horse? Man, yeah, I have not touched horses that much. That's probably pretty obvious at this point in the video, but I think I'm gonna like it though, because I don't know, you build all these beautiful paths, you got to use them, And this one that we're about to build between the mining colony and the woodcutter village is going to be pretty significant. Oh, that reminds me. We need to come up with names for these towns. I'm not going to rush to one, and I'm also not going to guarantee that I will use a suggestion. But if you have one, I'm more than willing to accept submissions. But it's got to fit, and it's got to feel right in my world, right? All right, we've got everything we need. We've got our mighty steed, a shovel to make the pass, and a bed to rest along the way. Let's start planning out this pathway between the two cities. There's got to be a better system for picking these leads up. That's all right. I'm sure that we'll figure it out. It's just like if I break a lead, I probably want to hold it, right? Is that not obvious? All right. What we're going to do for this first run through is I kind of want to just get like a general feel. Luckily, our horsey here is pretty fast. So it's going to wrap just to the outside of this bowl on the edge of the forest. We might expand this out slightly, like this little pathway that runs. We'll probably cut this one tree down too, for sure. And then level this out just enough for like a 3 wide path. But I don't want a straight shot to the cliff. I kind of want to curve through the valley because I think someday we'll build over on that way as well. And it would be nice to have an intersection somewhere here in the middle. And as I was kind of talking about earlier, I don't like my paths to be too straight because then you can see your destination and it kind of like shows you how close it is, which to me kind of breaks the feeling of traveling down a path. So anyway, we're going to curve through here. We're going to follow this little nice natural ridge here. We'll curve towards these kind of like U shape here opening in the mountains. We'll level some of this out, but it's supposed to be a rough path. Like this is too big of a slope and this is like too big of a little valley. And then we'll curve around slightly, just enough that when you're coming down it, again, you can't see straight to it. And then this is actually going to be a walled colony, I think. And I'm starting to work up some plans for that. And I want to like integrate some iron farms into it, into the wall itself. So look forward to that. Probably next episode. So we'll probably actually build like the walls and the fence gate opening just to give us kind of a feel for the size of the city or the colony. But yeah, so here is our destination. We'll curve slightly back, hopefully not fall down any ravines with our horse. Curve slightly back, just enough to break the sight line. I guess it'll be a little bit weird because you can, like when we build this path up, coming back towards the woodcutter village, you can see the back sides of these houses. I may have to put just a little bit more tree cover there on the ridge. And I realize that these are actually closer than I originally anticipated, but I kind of like that. It'll make it feel like more of a tight-knit world, I think. So I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. And there's supposed to be 2 builds that are like in the same universe, right? So they're not going to be so disjointed that they look weird next to each other. They're supposed to be, you know, people that interact with each other. So I'm going to start kind of carving out a little basic path. And then when I have, you know, the basic path blocks in, I might throw some fences and maybe even plant a couple saplings. I'll check back in with you. We're actually going to leave our horse here. Turns out we didn't need a bed because it's not actually that far. But it felt appropriate to bring ourselves a nice little bed and get ourselves all set up for a journey like it was going to be a cowboy sleeping on the range between the villages. Anyway, I'll get some basic stuff thrown down and then check back in. Okay, so here's our initial path. Oh, our lead was still attached. Oops. Oh, well, at least it makes a noise so we didn't lose it. Oh, professional horse rider here. All right, so here's our initial path. Kind of as I talked about, we took that one tree out and just kind of snake along the forest here, which I think is, you know, a cool effect, especially coming back towards the woodcutting village. I actually think this pathway works perfectly. As you kind of round the corner, I'll actually build this knoll up a little bit, I think, just to obscure a little bit more of your view. And then you round the corner and you kind of see the back corner of Greg's, but you see this first cabin. And then you kind of come down the street into the town, right? And you're like, oh, just some houses. And then finally, Greg's Tavern, big building sitting here. And then finally, Rita's general store. So yeah, we rack back around this way. As I kind of said, we rotate away from the thing. I'm obviously going to make the paths wider and decorate them, but I just wanted to get kind of a feel for what this was going to look like. I actually think instead of leveling the ground out here, I'll do some kind of little bridge. It's always nice to have some bridges in your pathways and stuff. Just adds a little bit more character. And that's kind of the best opportunity to put one through here. I was going to bend this out this way a little bit more, but it felt, I don't know, it felt too arbitrary, or I don't know. It felt more right to kind of hug the terrain here. It steps down a couple levels, and then felt like when we were approaching the gate to the city, I want to be coming at the gates of the mining colony from like a pretty decent angle, and I felt like we were going to be coming in kind of almost sideways into the mining colony, which I did not want. It's a short little journey, but it's reasonably far enough that, you know, it's in the distance but not connected. I think the final thing that we're going to do this episode, because it's just really hard to get a vision for what this thing's going to be, I think the best way that we can really kind of get our footprint down and get an understanding of what this colony is going to look like is to do some pretty serious terraforming. This thing is full of holes. There's a little cave down here. The mountain has this weird, I don't know, obstacle up here. I want to close these gaps in and make it more of a solid face, and I'm probably going to round the top off. It's a little bit too flat right now. I'd like to get rid of the diorite, probably get rid of some of the dirt. It's a very dirt heavy hillside, which is kind of strange, but like the shape of this is much nicer. Of course, this is also dirt, but yeah, just going to do a little bit of terraforming just so that we can kind of get a vision for what this thing might look like. A lot of it's going to be taking this level down to give us more cliff face, and then bringing some of these lower lying areas up. I like the idea of coming into the colony and the gate kind of being the lower portion, and then you kind of walk up towards the upper buildings, and then the actual mine entrance, you know, it's the whole basis of the colony, right? So the mine entrance will be pretty epic, probably at some point somewhere in the side of this cliff face. Let's get to digging a whole bunch of dirt and patching up some holes. Okay, so we didn't get far enough to actually start patching up the holes and working on the mountain itself, but I did get enough done that I think we can kind of get a feel for the size and the shape of this colony. So again, it's not a massive city. It's kind of like a really tight-knit, fortified maybe isn't the right word, but it is a very like structurally sound. It's a lot of stone and very square, industrial also is not probably the right word. I don't really know the word for it, I guess. But anyway, very sturdy looking buildings. Something of that nature. But here's the general shape and layout. So the walls are going to be mostly straight with one little kind of L just to give it so it's not a big square. We're just going to take one little chunk. These pillars are not laid out in spacing either. I probably should have made these on 5s or 3s spacing to really nail where the wall is going to turn. Because based on my wall design, you know, this could end up, you know, if each segment of my wall is 5 blocks wide, I probably should have planned ahead so that it actually landed where I wanted it to. So we may need to re-terraform a little bit more in the future, but this gives us a good base to paint on. You can see here I've kind of rudimentary put in what I would say is like the gate towers that will sit on either side of our main gate. I think this is going to be your main entrance. The road will kind of curve around, kind of come across the face so you get like a nice shot of the walls, and then you'll slope up to this main gate. I'll probably extend the land out here more so that it's not so steep right at the gate. Yeah. This is our general shape and layout of our mining colony. I think that this is going to be a significant amount of work for the like rock face and then getting our mine entrance figured out. So I don't think we're going to get to that this episode. And then next episode, I really want to focus on getting the wall started. I don't know that we'll be able to build the whole thing because that's just a lot of blocks, but I want to at least get like the gates and this segment here complete, at least this face, and then maybe just start the L, and then we'll finish that maybe in future episodes when we have time or downtime. But I don't want to get too bored just building boring wall over and over and over again. Is that a villager? What is he doing? I mean, there is a village just around the corner here that we visited, but are there buildings up on top? Huh. Anyway, our cliffhanger over there, just doing his own thing, I guess. So yeah, here it is. This is a good size, good shape. It's maybe slightly smaller than my brain was picturing, but I want to be able to like really fill the interior walls of this thing. So I want to be able to pack buildings pretty close to the wall. I mean, there's going to be alleyways that walk along, and I think we're going to integrate the actual iron farm that is going to be generating our iron for this colony into these two main gates. So I need the area around them to be golem proof. So there will probably end up being like a little courtyard entrance here where you kind of walk in and it's kind of open And then as you kind of press away from the main gate, then you start walking into like alleyways. There'll be a main path here that kind of zigzags. That's what I was kind of trying to figure out here. Again, with my paths, like I was saying earlier, I like to have not straight shots, so I don't want to be able to see the massive mining entrance right when you walk in the gate. I think it'll be more interesting if there's like builds obscuring it. So you kind of follow the path through the town, you come down the main street, and then when you turn the corner, boom, there it is. There's your big opening. We're gonna fill that backside in too, obviously. We still have a lot of work to do on the mountain. I wish it was a little bit better base of a mountain. It's gonna be a decent amount of terraforming to get it to look how I think I want it to. But the area is definitely good, and I want to be close-ish to Greg's Tavern and our woodcutting village. So yeah, I think that's about all we have time for this episode. Next episode, we make the iron farms, we work a little bit on terraforming the mountain, and we start putting some walls in. You made it this far in the episode. I appreciate you. Thanks for sticking around. Have a good one. Hey, how's it going? We got a lot to do today. Let's get to work. You may notice our horse is a slightly different color. Don't worry about that. You really got to be careful where you AFK. And remember how that horse didn't even have quite one full bar of hearts? Yeah, well, one exact creeper explosion is enough to kill him, even with diamond armor on. The more you know. That's right. This guy's probably the same speed, and I think he actually has a higher jump. We found him over there in the plains somewhere next to these guys, so. New horse already. He lasted one whole episode. We didn't name him or anything, so I guess it's hard to get too attached. But in today's episode, we're focused on getting the iron farm built. We're actually building 2 iron farms. We'll see if we get them both. The farms are going to be integrated into the gate openings for the city or the colony, and yeah, they're just your standard. You have a zombie floating in some soul sand water, you scare some villagers, an iron golem spawns, and some lava kills them. These ones are my own design, but it's similar to something I've built before. It's kind of my own conception. It's based around every iron golem farm you've ever seen, where you scare a villager with zombies and, you know, iron golem spawn and you kill them. But I'm actually going to integrate them into the guardhouses, so we'll have to golem proof. I think it's like 20 blocks out from where the villagers are. So we'll have to either do all path blocks or moss carpet and stuff like that. Buttons, bushes, tree leaves, I think, are not spawnable. So there'll be a decent amount of work around these to make it work. But I think it's going to be cool to have it integrated into the city. So that's what we're going to do. The first thing we have to do, though, is we need at least 3 villagers in each farm. And we don't have that many villagers nearby unless we took all of the villagers from this town over here. So I think what we're going to do is build a kind of a rudimentary villager breeder right in the side of this mountain. We're already going to start utilizing some of the space. We've got beds, carrots, some soul sand, so we can actually transport the babies away from the breeder. That way we can get, because we're going to need a decent little population for this building, plus, you know, the 3 to 5 per iron farm that we're going to need. So we'll build some little chamber underground probably and just start piling up villagers as we build. And hopefully by the time we're done building, we've created enough villagers to stock the farm. So let's start bringing some villagers over. We've got one up here already. I still don't know what he's trying to do up there. We got to be really careful getting him down. And then we'll have to go over to the village and grab one more, but that's not too bad. So let's get to work on that. It's a pretty standard villager breeder. You just put a couple farmers in there. They pick up the carrots, they plant new carrots, and occasionally they throw them back and forth. They try to breed, and when they're successful, the baby runs towards the beds and falls in a hole. And then, you know, he's swept away by the water, so he no longer counts against the total bed count, and the next one comes. But I'll probably explain that better once we build it. Let's get to building. Step one's complete. Wrangling the initial 2 villagers was a lot more annoying than I thought it was going to be. This guy, who was right on the cliff above where we wanted, absolutely refused to come down. I would get him down on a boat, I would lead him with a crafting table, and he would still make his way back up. And then this other guy, who I had to go to the other village to get, I only saw one of them for a second there, I was a little nervous. And the other guy, wait a minute, why don't these guys have jobs? Can you not place these? Does this break it if I do this? Oops. One of you has to be a farmer. There we go. Okay, don't stack your composters if you're gonna do this farm. So this is what it looks like. It's just kind of I actually did, you could technically do 1 more block wide and you get a little bit more food, which I guess maybe would increase your rates of food consumption / baby production. But as you can see, they do a fine enough job. Let's close this up so the baby doesn't escape. If they're about to make one, maybe they're just gonna chat. But so they pick the food, they kind of toss the food back and forth to each other, and eventually they multiply. So you put some beds across here. If you're going to try to duplicate this farm, it's important for like the head of the bed to be closer to them, because there's something about like their distance to the bed that matters. So if it's flipped around the other way, the bed is too far and it won't register. And then you just use trapdoors for the typical like mob drop method. So they think there's no floor here. The babies walk in, they fall down into this little water stream, and they shoot over to our little prison. I mean, temporary holding location. And then you have these trapdoors along this top ridge, because villagers are tall, so they hit their head and they can't make it into the hole. That's it. That's the whole thing. You block that entrance, because if you don't have that totally blocked, if like we just had the trapdoors, their pathing makes them think they can walk through it, and they will just walk into it forever. It's super frustrating. So you see as he picks it, they're kind of like picking him up. So eventually they'll gather enough, and then boom, they'll make another baby. Let's go for a little swim and see how our little production, I can't think of a good way to describe this without it sounding bad. And I'm starting to think maybe there's a reason for that. Anyway, down here, the best way to do these little water drops is 8 blocks, and then you do 7 blocks and then a drop. So you'd have 1 water source, and it kind of just pushes everything. Instead of putting a water source at every one, which they can like float in, you want to make sure you like step it down so the water falls off the ends. Just the little things you learn. I've also made the mistake in the past of like making holes and putting the torches in the holes, but the babies are short, so they'll actually just climb up into the hole and sit in there. So you don't want that plugging up your system. This is like the one inefficiency. I think you can technically put like ice here and they'll kind of slide into the bottom stream, but because they're actually like entities that move and do stuff, they'll just walk across it at some point, and then boop, they shoot up to the top, and here they are, full grown adult villagers. We've only gotten 2, probably because I had one of those farmers, or rather I had 2 villagers in there and no farmers. It's up and running, they are producing, so they're close enough to the beds, all that stuff's working correctly, and they've got a nice inconspicuous box. I don't know what else to say about it. It's a stone box. We'll probably do some build that is like maybe we should just make it like a prison and like a holding cell. That's kind of a funny thing to do in a town. Maybe we'll make this the prison in the corner of the colony, and it'll just be like a holding cell, and that's where we'll get all of our villagers from. It's kind of like Skyrim. You always start in the prison. All right, now we're gonna get our materials together. I have everything. I'm just gonna get it all piled up and in boxes and set it out front here. And then we'll start constructing the gates. Pretty excited for these iron farms. I did a little bit of creative pre-planning for this one, which isn't something I do a lot of. But where this one was an iron farm, I wanted to make sure that it actually functioned before I put it in the world. Because if we built the whole thing and then had to change its shape because it wasn't actually producing iron, that would have been a real bummer. So I did kind of a rudimentary blocking out of it and kind of did a facial like decorations on it. And now we're gonna do it again, but for real. Let me get my stuff together and then we'll start building. Okay, just wrapped up building the frame of the iron farm, and time is of the essence because it is about to turn nighttime and I want to catch the zombie, so I don't have to wait another 20 minutes. We got the frame done. I'll talk about the build some after we get through this frantic part, but essentially you put the zombie in some soul sand and you put him floating on some water, and he bounces up and down, and as he bounces up and down, he kind of scares the villagers. So we got the soul sand or water, and then I think if we can just get him like dirt trapped in here. Can I escape if these are open? Probably if I had my elytron, I could. I'm trying to think of how can I get through here? We're gonna have to just quickly place dirt blocks, I think. It's gonna be the best bet. So we'll jump through. Can we break all 3 of those? It's not ideal. Time is of the essence, as I said, because I don't want to wait another cycle. So soul sand, this will make him kind of bounce. We'll run through dirt. We'll have to do a little dirt tunnel here. That should work. Oh no, he's gonna get me. Oh no, no, jump through. And then dirt, dirt, dirt. Okay. And then we have a name tag so he doesn't despawn. He shall be called Bob. Probably should have put our horse somewhere safer. Here we are. Committed. Don't really want any creepers blowing up everything I just spent the last hour or two building. Actually don't know how long that was. It felt like forever. You'll see in the time lapse, but man, I like replaced like 1,000 blocks. Sometimes you're not on. And sometimes you are when you're playing games like this. I don't know how to explain it, but like no matter what I did, I was misplacing and double deleting extra blocks. Ugh, so frustrating. But I'm pretty happy with the end product. You can kind of see the wall design here. The gate in the middle is going to be different, obviously, than the rest of the wall. So I don't really know what I want to do with that. So I just kind of left this face of the building, blank. And then this is what the normal wall that kind of goes around the colony is going to look like. Obviously with some variation of vines and bushes and cobblestone and all that, but that's the general concept, right? Oh, here's one. Perfect. I don't think we aggroed anything else. Man, look at the mob spawning. Holy crap. We'll jump on our horse and get out of here so the rest of the stuff despawns before it gives us trouble. But hello, Bob. Oh, probably should have our dirt usable. Placed our water, got our name tag. So this, I'm probably gonna take some damage here, but I just don't see any other way. I need to get this block behind him. All right, got it behind him. Oh, crap. Come get me, you know you want me. Also, are we gonna be able to place our water? Do we have bricks on us? Stone. Okay, that's fine. We can make that work. Just need to place this behind you real quick, Bob. Just like that. Should we place our water just to be extra safe before we waste the name tag? All right. Bob's bouncing. Bob has a name. Okay. That was a little frantic and not clean. But we've got our zombie. He's named, and I think he's fully protected. I don't think glass or anything like that is an issue. Getting our villagers in here, you know, in hindsight, I should have gotten the zombie and the villagers and stuff all in the building probably before. Oh, we can sleep now. Oh, the zombie's nearby. Duh. Good. Bob, you're messing me up. What's going to be the best way to get I think the villagers are going to have to come in through the wall. My question is, will I have to like force them in with a zombie in here? Or will they try to sleep in the beds? I think they still try to sleep in the beds even if there's a zombie. So let's go get some villagers from our little villager square. Not prison, not holding cell. Actually, let's ride out of here and despawn all this stuff. Then we'll go get our villagers. I'll be right back, Bob. I think that's all the hard parts other than dealing with villagers. We should be able to just sneak some villagers in here real quick. Villagers are gonna come in here. How can I get them? Maybe we just get 2 villagers in here and we breed them real quick. Because I think the best bet here is actually gonna be to just boat them in. Because at first I thought, well, I'll just throw like a job block on this wall and they'll just naturally want to go in. Let's see if that works, but I think with the zombie, they're gonna be totally thrown off. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, it's a party. Oh, well, we have our first free roaming villager. Oh, I gotta go up on that mountain. There must be a job block. I know that there is a village building that spawned up there, but every free villager just wants to run and climb up the side of this hill. It's so frustrating. All right, who's our first guard? All right, now's the time to place your wagers. Is he gonna want the job block / beds? Or is he gonna be way too scared of that zombie? We're about to find out. Get in your home. Oh, no, come on. Come on, no. Oh, I didn't think of that. He can use the barrel. Yep, that does it. Oh, as soon as he steps in, he sees him though. Come on, it's fine. Everything's fine. Don't worry about Bob. Wait, actually, can I close these? Nope, I placed it the wrong way. That probably would have worked. Yeah, nothing wrong in here. Just a friendly neighborhood zombie. We think our best bet is going to be to just breed the 2. I think 3 is all you need. I put 5 beds in there, but every farm I've ever seen uses 3 villagers and 3 beds. So I'm guessing that there's either diminishing returns on extra beds or there's only so many like scares per tick or something. I don't know the science behind iron farms, but there must be some reason that they all use 3 villagers and 3 beds. So I think we'll probably just settle for 3 villagers for now. Unless this is super efficient now for getting them in here, in which case, you know, we'll keep going. And if Bob suffocates on that dirt block, I'm gonna be really upset. I'm pretty sure it's one above his head though. Ah, yes, perfect. All right, we can't reach that block now. Need to not let that baby escape, but we need to break that dirt block and flip that trapdoor. I don't dare just go for it. I'm not that brave. Let's go through the back. That's probably the safest option. Or that's to go above the zombie's head. We've got 2 villagers. Oh, crap, the baby villager's gonna get killed. Well, we'll have to check back in, because that baby villager is almost definitely gonna get himself killed. I didn't even think of that, because he can fit between the planks. As long as he doesn't grow up when he's literally standing in that hole. Should be okay. Now, access. Actually, maybe I should take a step back. That was total chaos for like 20 minutes there, but here's the iron farm. We did a little bit of like leaves and decorations. We mixed in some mossy, we mixed in some andesite, a little bit of polished, just in spots to kind of give it some texture. I did put some kind of preliminary string here, but we'll see. You never really know where vines are gonna grow. Sometimes they go a little crazy, but we'll check on that. We left this face blank because we're gonna build the gatehouse here, right? So we have to build this exact same thing again, but right here. Except for next time, I'm definitely gonna put the zombie and the villagers in first. And then this is kind of our general wall design. This will just repeat. I haven't determined exactly how I'm gonna do transitions. So the way that I'm handling this is a bottom slab, right? So the walkway on the walls is not spawnable because it's a bottom slab. And then anything that has like a top to it has buttons on it, which is kind of hard to see. So yeah, you see how there's a button on the full blocks? So everything around this tower has to be spawn proofed. So actually, I guess now that I think about it, now that I say that out loud, these don't technically need to be spawn proofed after that. It's a little more spiky than I was picturing the builds in this area, but I think I like the general aesthetic. It's gonna kind of influence the rest of the town a little bit, but I still may do a little bit more bulky and a little less spiked for the actual buildings inside. This can just look like the intimidating gatehouse. All right, villagers are in, zombies in. We're gonna wait for that guy to grow up. And then for access to our iron, it's gonna be a little bit annoying and tedious to get to. We'll probably put a wall on the inside here, and then we'll just do a ladder kind of going down below the farm. So this is ground level, so we need to dig out this block. That's just so I can know. And then this block, you can't put a ladder on a path block for some reason. So this will have to be dirt. And then again, this is inside the wall, so you won't be able to see it anyway. And then we'll throw a button there. So that's gonna be that's gonna be spawn proofed. We'll go down a couple blocks, and then now we need to find, where's our hopper? Somewhere here, our hopper should be poking down through. Let me try to think. I think that the hoppers come down like 2 to the left. There it is, there's our hopper, okay. Should have been more careful about that probably, but this is where our iron's gonna come out. So we need some chests underneath that. And again, all of this kind of needs to be golem proofed. I'm assuming they need kind of a minimum spawn area, but I'm not really gonna take any chances. Stone bricks. So no golems spawned during our little event there, probably because the villagers hadn't actually slept yet. There's a weird mechanic where the villagers have to claim a bed. But hopefully that's the only reason they didn't spawn. See if we can sneak into our own bed without attracting too much attention here. Probably should have lit the area around my little chest monster up a little bit more. I don't think I really talked about it, but this is kind of how I do my, this is the cob version of a chest monster. I usually try to build some kind of like lean-to. You kind of saw in the wood color village, I did like the little treehouse base with my chests. I mean, it's still effectively just a bunch of chests slapped on the ground, but something about putting a little bit of fence around it, a little bed. This was going to be an infinite water source, but I couldn't remember if you could do it with the 4 stairs, and I forgot to get a second bucket of water and a bunch of stuff. A little pole for our horse, but it just gives like, while you're building, to have like a kind of a quote-unquote little home base, and you know, for pretty much no effort to throw this thing together, right? It just kind of gives you a little bit of something to your world. I also just noticed I filmed this entire segment without shaders on, but that was really discerning for people. Oh no, we may have to, I don't know, should we refilm it or do we leave it in? It'll be a fun little thing that happened in episode 12. I don't know how long it takes a villager to grow up, but I'm patiently waiting because I want to make sure this farm is actually going to do something. Well, I don't think that villager ever grew up, and if he did, he either grew up and suffocated in one of those slabs, or the zombie got him. So we ran over and grabbed another villager. Actually, the little baby that had escaped and had run up the hill, he grew up, and we brought him in here, and now he's the 3rd guard for this tower. Farm's fully functional. You can see I had to do a little manipulation to the terrain here. I need to drop my little iron storage system down 1 block underneath. But to access it, I think I showed this already if I didn't, you just drop down this little hole in the walls. And then I started kind of texturing the walls. I need to get rid of this dirt. And I'm going to probably put like supports and stuff like that, kind of like an underground tunnel between the guard towers. But for now, I just wanted some clean walls at least. But yeah, I actually took out like a stack of iron blocks already because I needed to get some hoppers and some other stuff for the other tower and a bunch of lanterns. But yeah, totally works. That was probably, I don't know, an hour or 2. AFK while I ate dinner, so that's pretty good. So now we just need to build this tower again, but mirrored, and then we'll probably leave like a 7 block gap. I think that's about the width of this path, I think, right? The other tower will probably come to like right here, and then yeah, We'll build some kind of fancy gate at some point that connects the two towers. And I don't really have an idea of what that looks like yet, so for now, it'll just be an open mining colony with no restriction, but it'll have very active guards who never sleep. Originally, I was going to close up these glass panes just so it looked like a normal guard tower, but I kind of like that you can kind of see the villagers running around in there. And, you know, if you're guarding a colony, it's good to be able to see people as they approach. And you got Bob back there making sure no one's sleeping on the job. All right, let's build this other tower, and I'll check back in.
Love was holding all the cards and always kept me in the dark. I never thought I could shake this heartache until I saw your light, and it's got me feeling like life is good, yeah. Life is good, yeah. Yeah, in my darkest times, you got me feeling like I've been walking on air. Left all my worries and cares. I've got no burdens around you. I don't care who knows I love you. 'Cause I've been so lost without you. And in my darkest times, you got me feeling like life is good, yeah. Life is good, yeah. Yeah, in my darkest times, you got me feeling like.
And there it is, the iron gate. It definitely still needs some touching up, and we have to build the actual gate itself, as well as, I didn't really consider it, but there's no way to get on top of the gate, so we may just go for like ladders on the backside or something, but probably should have made a way to pass through from the wall. There is actually room in the top of this. The iron golem spawns like right above this wall. This is like, these two blocks are flat because that's his spot. So maybe we'll put like a little climb up and pass through. Could be interesting to get from gate to gate. Otherwise, you got to climb off the wall, go over and climb up, but that's okay. But yeah, pretty happy with how these turned out. This is like one of the first builds I've ever designed so far ahead in creative, and I think it actually worked out pretty well. I was mostly just nervous that the actual iron farm itself wouldn't function, and if I was going to put this much time into building these and making them look cool and integrating them into like the walls of the city, I wanted to make sure that it was actually going to generate iron. And the good news is they do. They both work pretty efficiently. I haven't seen any iron golems spawn since I fixed the last couple spawn-proofed blocks. We're gonna have to go through here probably and put some stone and some buttons, maybe some moss carpets to get the grass spread a little bit more. But for now, path blocks are just the most efficient way to kind of spawn-proof this whole area for golems. But we'll come up with more creative solutions in the future. I also wonder if things like string work could be interesting. In areas that we're not going to be in a lot or doing a lot, that might be an effective method, but I gotta look up some spawn proofing techniques. But yeah, pretty cool little build. Again, I want to extend the landscape out. I don't love how steep you walk up to this, so we'll probably pull this layer below the layer the gates are on out at least like 4 or 5 blocks, and then kind of again and again for these. And then I think ground level is going to be this tier right here. So we'll raise up this whole area probably out to our little lean-to there. We'll raise this whole area up to match this level. And of course, like I said, these steps will be way further out so that when you're approaching the gate, you're kind of at more of a level ground with it. It's kind of cool to be like ominous and above you as you walk up, but I think it's just a little too steep and you don't get a great effect, especially once the gate's here. I think we want to be able to stand here and kind of take it in, whereas now we're kind of looking up at it, which I don't love. So let's go see how this thing's producing. Both of them are active now. Obviously, I've broke the dirt blocks that I was blocking the zombie with earlier. I didn't bother to get 2 more villagers in here because it was such a hassle after it was built. But it turns out getting the villager and the zombies in here when the roof was still not on was definitely the right move. This side was so much easier. For some reason, our zombie turned into a drowned. Why is that? Why is there an iron bar there? That's a little concerning. Let me go look. Hopefully, no, because there's... Unless somehow a golem could spawn and suffocate? I don't know, maybe that's been in there from way earlier and the items never despawned. You would have thought by now the item would have despawned. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, he turned into a drowned, and that's the dirt block I broke above his head. As you can see, he's still holding it. But we dropped him through the ceiling and it was so much smoother. Definitely recommend that if you're gonna try to replicate these in any way. Get your villagers in before you build up the actual upstairs part. Yeah, there's a chance that you could get an iron golem to spawn if you don't block him with some dirt blocks or kind of hide the villagers a little bit. But this was such a pain. I might try to throw these guys some carrots over time and just see if we can get 2 more. But I really think 3 is the right number anyway. Like I was saying earlier, I've never really seen an iron farm that uses more than 3 villagers to 1 zombie. So there must be some kind of science behind that. Down below isn't really decorated yet, but I did kind of clean up all the walls and put some nice stone walls around it so it looks like it's, you know, complete-ish. I definitely want to put like supports in the walls and, you know, this will probably be more brick and less flat stone. But for now, it's just kind of an efficient way to grab our stuff. We got a bed down here for when we AFK, we can sleep before we go back up to the surface. This one, obviously we built just more recently, so we haven't AFK'd very long in it, but even still, we've already up to, what, 4 stacks in there. And then this one obviously has been going the whole time we've been building, so we've got a decent amount in there. And that's after I took out a decent chunk. I think I took like a stack of iron blocks. Yeah, over a stack of iron blocks I took out of there already. So we should be good for iron. And we're going to be building in this mining colony for a while. So the benefit to having it built right into the gatehouse like this is as we're kind of building up the colony, this thing will just be always pumping out iron. Which is why I'm thinking... I don't know what our the theme of our next building will be, but I think it's gonna house either a melon or a pumpkin farm or kind of, you know, a little B. I think you can do both in the same farm. So we'll need something that is relatively square. I don't know if you've ever seen a melon farm. Actually, one second. We can run over to, I actually built a rudimentary one in Greg's basement, and I don't think I ever even showed it, but I kind of wanted to start working on villager trades just to get, you know, an idea of the farm I wanted to build. But let's go take a look at that and kind of show you what it looks like. It's been a while since we've been and visited Greg, so he'll be happy to see us, I bet. Hopefully he's been feeding Scruffy. How you doing, Scruffy? Give him a little pet. Yeah. You been feeding him? You better. Like I said, we named him. He's here to stay, Greg. So yeah, down here is kind of our rudimentary melon farms. This is what they look like. All it is you have an observer that kind of looks at the stalk, and then you have pistons that go around it. Anytime a melon grows, for whatever reason, this stem has some kind of appearance change that the observer picks up, and it just activates all 4 pistons every time. So anytime a single melon grows, all of the pistons activate and knock stuff down. I built this one completely off of memory, and I mostly was just making sure I even remembered how to do it, so it's not super efficient. You can actually build these stalks like this. See how these 2 are right next to each other? Like, you only need to have the 4 squares to the sides of each plant growable, so you can actually make these just go diagonal all the way across. So this footprint is huge for the amount of plants we have in it, but you get the idea. It's just a big square, and then underneath it, you just kind of have a hopper minecart picking up them as they break. I would want at least 2 or 3 levels, probably 3 levels of this farm in terms of like making enough melons to be worth it, because obviously we haven't been here very much, but this just doesn't make that many melons. Slash if it was doing pumpkins. So we'll either make the building, obviously it'll be a very square building to fit this on the inside of it, because I want it to be at least probably as wide as this one is, so I don't know if that's like 7 blocks wide. So we'll probably want to be able to walk all the way around it, so you add 2 blocks on either side of it, and then probably another block on either side of that, so that you have like, you know, detailing room on the outside of the building. All of a sudden it's an 11 block wide square building. I haven't decided what that building's going to be yet, but I think it is going to house one of these. And if we need to make more layers, we'll kind of just cheat and go down into the ground below the building. But we'll probably make a reasonably sizable building for it. You'll have to tune in next episode though, because I don't even know what that's going to look like yet. So I certainly can't give you any hints now. Anyway, let's head back over to the Iron Gate. Yeah, I'll be back eventually, Greg. Don't worry. Your room is like, it's on the list. It's not next on our list, but it's on our list. Don't worry. A nice sunset view right up of the gate. It's gonna look so good when we get these walls built around the place, it's really going to tie this gatehouse in. And the walls are all going to be kind of this thinner thing, so the gatehouse should really stand out as like, this is the entrance to the city kind of thing. It's always intimidating when you're starting a new area like this and you really have no foot what this colony is going to look like, and it's got me super excited for next episode. When we build our first building inside the walls, we'll also probably just kind of work on wall segments as we go. Like maybe next episode I'll try to get this wall to the cliff there and get this one kind of to this L. And then, you know, over the next couple episodes, we'll finish the walls off. Or maybe, you know, I'll get ambitious and we'll just knock it out real quick during one time lapse. But it's a little bit tedious building repetitive sections like this. I mean, yeah, we'll go back after the fact and mix in some more of this like andesite and mossy, but you're still just building the same thing over and over and over and over again. So it gets a little repetitive, but I think it's going to really lock this place in as a tight-knit colony. Once the walls are done, you'll feel like you're inside of it, if that makes sense. So next episode, we build some kind of melon farm. Oh, actually, you know what? Maybe we build, I don't want to overpromise, but I do want to convert this into some kind of like prison jail cell holding area for the town. I left this going the whole time I was building the gatehouses and it got a little bit out of hand. There's a lot of villagers in here. I actually went in and blocked off the baby zombie drop, the baby villager drop, because I don't want to get so many villagers in here that we're starting to lag out the area. We're going to need quite a few villagers to fill this colony. There's going to be buildings. I want this whole thing, I think I mentioned this before, to be completely packed with buildings. So we'll build this next building probably right off the path. We'll make the path through the town probably 5 blocks wide. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like stupid horse. Come on. Like that wide. But then other than that, it's going to be a building here and a building here. And it's going to be very tight and cramped as you go through this colony. So we're going to need a lot of villagers if we're going to stock some of those buildings with people. Obviously, like the melon farm probably won't have a villager. Maybe we'll put like a farmer up front and a tiny stand or something selling melons. But for the most part, I want to put villagers in all of the buildings in the town, at least the ones that it makes sense. I am going to keep the windows in, I think. I just love the idea of being able to like peek in and check on the villagers, I guess. It doesn't really fit the theming, I don't think. But if they're guarding, you know, they're like the watchers, and Bob's in there keeping them on point. Make sure no one's sleeping on the job. I like it. All right, that's all we have time for this episode. You made it this far. I appreciate you. Thanks for sticking around. Have a good one. You can't pet your horse. Who knew? Hey, how's it going? A little bit of a change of plans. I think the last thing I said when I ended the other episode was that we were going to start working on the melon farm and then working on the walls, and we might work on the walls. But I was doing some walking around the area and kind of thinking about the future of the footprint of this colony, and I can't really think of a good way to tie this wall into this hill. And I'm starting to think that the best way to do it is going to be to remove a significant portion of this hill and kind of either make it a flat mountain face like that one, or just get rid of it completely, because on the other side there's a nice open plains again, and it could be cool to have like a big fortified wall out in the middle of the plains. And that's a lot of digging, so I don't know if I want to fully commit to the whole mountain yet, but I definitely want to take a good slice out of it. And if we're going to do that, we're going to need a beacon. So the first thing we're going to do today is go to the Nether and get some wither skulls. And then we're going to fight the wither. And then we're going to do a lot of terraforming and start working on the walls. And we'll pretty much go as far on the walls as I reasonably can and still get an episode out on time. And who knows what else might come along the way, but that's the plan. I'm actually going to stream the wither gathering materials and the fight itself on Twitch. You know, feel free to give me a follow over there. I'll try to throw up a community post anytime I'm actually going to be streaming. I should have said something before because I had this idea that I might do this, but I forgot to mention it in the video. But keep an eye out for a community post. Follow me over there on Twitch if you want to check it out when I'm streaming. But yeah, let's go to the Nether and probably just sit on that crossroads where we were fighting those blazes earlier for a long time, killing some wither skeletons. We'll leave the horse here. Actually, I lied. We won't leave the horse here. Our only Nether portal is still back in Greg's basement, so we better head in that direction to get there. Trying to think what materials we should have ready for us. I think that it's typically better to build a little platform at those crossroads just so you have more spawning area potential. So I'll maybe just bring like a bunch of stone. We also are going to need to enchant up our sword real quick because it only has looting 2. And if we're going to go try to get wither skulls, we're definitely going to need looting 3. We really need to get this path figured out between the two bases. I feel like I really didn't expect how much I was going to be going back and forth, and it's just kind of a bummer right now where it's so flat and plain, but I really want to get the colony footprint started and, you know, cemented into the hillside over there before I start working on the little detail stuff. If you guys think of a name for this guy, let me know down in the comments. My last horse didn't last long, but maybe this one will. Heading into the fiery underworld, Greg. I'll be back. That didn't go smoothly. We actually gave up entirely on the first Nether fortress and went to another one. I did stream a little bit of the first fortress, and I apologize to anyone that watched that because I think we killed like 3 wither skeletons, which is, you know, not nearly enough if you want to try to get skulls. But I went on a little scavenger hunt through the Nether to find a better one that was like more in a soul sand valley and less buried in the terrain, and we were able to get 3. And I'm not really into fighting the wither fairly, so I go with this method. You may or may not have seen this. You just make an obsidian T and place it directly underneath the center. So like the center block is like the center of your T, and then you put 4 soul sand on it in this like sideways T manner, so that when we place our skulls, we'll do 1, 2, and then the last one goes right here. And then his head will actually get stuck right here in the, what's it called, bedrock. And then he will actually suffocate over time, or we can just run down here and kind of stab him with a sword. Yeah, it's a little cheaty, but I don't want to risk him flying around and destroying my world. You can also do the underground tunnel method where you like dig a long tunnel through deep slate, and that's also probably just as easy to kill him. But this one's pretty foolproof, and I didn't actually do it this time, but we've got a little stockpile of eggs. We're gonna need to throw a bunch of chickens in here one of these times, and this method works really well because the chickens are all kind of contained around him, and then when he spawns, he blows up, kills all the chickens, and then you get a whole pile of wither roses. Anyway, let's fight the wither. Let's get our beacon. Let's dig a mountain. We gotta run away for the first few seconds here because even though his head is stuck in there, he has that like AoE explosion thing that still goes off. We'll wait for that. Boom. So now we can just run up, take our bow. You can see he's already suffocating. He dies pretty quick, but we'll do a couple of these bow shots to get him kind of softened up a little bit. It's kind of loud. I didn't realize it was going to be this loud. Probably should have turned down my Minecraft volume. All right, now I think he's impenetrable to bows. Just walk up, give him a few slices. You can actually spawn like multiple withers doing this too. You don't have to just fight one at a time. You can just keep stacking them up and they'll all just kind of suffocate and die slowly, but boom, there it is, the Nether Star. We've got a decent amount of stockpile from our iron farm already too, so we should be able to craft up an iron beacon real quick. We can start digging out this mountain, or at least a portion of it. I don't think I'm gonna take the whole thing down right now. I just want to take enough of that mountain and hillside out so that we can fit our walls where I want them to actually go. Now, back to the mining colony. And just like that, we've got a beacon in our world and an extra iron block that we dropped somewhere. Now we get that sweet, sweet insta-mine. Of course, dirt already was insta-mine, but now we can do this too. Uh-oh. Oh, this pickaxe is efficiency 4. Oh, whoops. Crap. I really don't want a bunch of cobblestone. I guess we have to go get efficiency 5 on our silk touch pickaxe before we start this, because I really don't want that many shulker boxes full of cobblestone. It's gonna be a lot of dirt as well, but for some reason I thought efficiency 4 was enough for insta-mine with the beacon, but I guess you need efficiency 5. This episode on learning with Cobb. Alright, well, beacon's up. I'll go throw efficiency on my other pickaxe, get everything enchanted up, and then we'll start digging. We'll see how far we get. I'm probably gonna put like an hour or two on the clock and kind of see how much we get done, and that'll kind of let me know how much further we're gonna go. I don't think we're gonna get the melon farm built today's episode because I have a feeling this is gonna take a long time, but I think I can crank out the wall pretty quick. I did this section pretty fast, and I realize it's not done, but I think we can get a good chunk of that done. Anyway, I'll check back in. So we got a little carried away. I just got in a groove and I just kept grinding and building, and once I got kind of the initial top of the hill carved away, I kind of started to vision this pathway skirting through the mountains. And I think it would be really cool to have like a small gatehouse here where you can kind of sneak out. And then there's this other valley kind of behind our big mountain here. And you know, this could be a nice future build somewhere here. See this hill kind of slopes up over here? It's like another really cool area back here. We'll have to do more terraforming to the backside of the mountain, unfortunately, to make it work. But this is also just kind of a really nice area. So I wanted to have access to it somehow, and this was just kind of the perfect opportunity. You never really know where Minecraft's gonna take you, and sometimes you just gotta get inspired in the process. And this just kind of came to me as I was digging away the side of this cliff. And then, you know, the more I got into it, then I started shaping this one, and I closed up our hole. I fixed the, I don't know if you can remember the beforehand, but this was all open and I kind of bridged. This is all kind of new stone through here in this area. So we're definitely not going to get the melon farm done. I went pretty hard here on the terraforming on this side, but because we did all of this, and I really do think it looks just so much better. Oh, except for this. I was taking a before and after screenshot just to kind of like get an idea of the progress, and because when you're up so close to it, it's hard to know like how much you've done. But I noticed this one face is just very flat. I need to get just a little bit of dirt out of here and round it off just a little bit. It doesn't take much. You'd be surprised, like a big mountain like this, but it doesn't take very many blocks like that are flat or in a straight line before you've really kind of made a weird eye-catchy spot in the side of a hill. Yeah, it's already immediately better. So yeah, we're not going to get to the melon farm, but we are going to finish terraforming. I think that's what I've decided. We're just going hard on the terraforming, and then I still think we're going to build some walls, but I really want to just look how much better this looks with the detailing and the stone stacked up. And we got rid of like the granite. Still got some like copper, one little piece of granite there. There's a little bit of cleanup left to do, but just for the most part, having it mostly clean and only letting the dirt kind of lie on the flat areas. We have one spot of dirt here that I left this because I was worried if we got rid of this pile of dirt, this would just be flat stone in a huge area. So I left this for now. We may go back and pull this out, but for now, I'm gonna leave this little chunk of dirt here. So we're gonna go over to this side of a mountain and at least go to where our wall is gonna be. So that's gonna be right where this horse is sitting over here, is where our wall is gonna tie into the cliff. So I want to at least terraform from here to here. So it's really just, you know, it's essentially the same amount of area we've done already. And it should go a lot faster because for the most part, we're just removing the dirt. And then we're going to round this area. See how flat this wall is? So we'll carve off this chunk over here. And we'll carve off this chunk over here. And we'll add just a little bit of this kind of detailing where the stone kind of climbs up right here. We'll do a very similar boulder looking climb here. And then later on, we actually may move that if we put a build up against it, because a good way to get rid of a flat area like this is to just put a build flat against it as well. But for now, we'll probably just do something like this over here, where we make a nice boulder on the front face of this. So yeah, that's the plan right now. I've got a lot of digging and a lot of mining to do, and you've got a cool song to listen to while I do it. I'll be back in a minute.
You inside of my mouth and questions of the why and how again. And maybe when I'm heading out, I'll think of what we talked about, and maybe I nothing floating around again. I lost it, little more than space. Now I just hide behind the days when you're at work or I'm away again. To love like this, it makes me sing. But don't you for 1 second think that one day lonely I won't be again. Again.
It took a little longer than I expected, but I'm pretty happy with the final result. And even though it delayed some of our other plans for this episode, I think this was totally worth it. I didn't really have like a final image in my brain for this mountain when I started. The only thing I knew for sure is I wanted the mine entrance itself to be rough like this, if that makes sense. I wanted it to be like they literally dug in with pickaxes to get here, because it was like, you know, post-war mining people with no machinery or anything. So the entrance to the cave had to be like carved in, essentially, if that makes sense. Almost like a self-developed cave that they used. And we'll expand this internal part more as we go forward. But I wanted the opening to be very like, but I wanted the opening to really flow with the mountain. So I wanted to, that's why I kind of built up this side more to kind of help draw you into this opening, because it's going to be like the main feature for the colony. The actual cave itself is going to look a lot different, obviously. And we'll have like supports and decoration, and there'll be some kind of special pathway of some kind. But for now, we were focusing on the land. This pathway was really just a happy accident, but I think it's going to be so cool to have a small gatehouse right here that you can walk out of, and you'll be, you know, you're kind of tucked away from the main valley, right? So it'll feel almost like video gamey in a way, where like a Skyrim city, like if you go into like a major Skyrim town through like the main gate and then you like exit through the side gate, it always feels so disorientating, like you're just in like in a different part of the world completely. And that's what I'm hoping this kind of feels like. Originally I was gonna stop the wall about here and have a pathway down the wall, but now I'm considering actually still bringing the wall all the way over and then down this wall and having a totally separate gatehouse. So this will be like essentially a picture it like a loading gate in a video game, right? And then this will kind of just be a totally different themed area when you come through this tight, narrow canyon. And then I don't know what I'm gonna put here yet, but it's gonna be something cool, I hope. We got so many materials out of this. We've got like 6 double chests full of dirt and stone, so that's going to be very helpful for building up the rest of this town, especially the wall. Obviously the wall is going to use a lot of stone, but we're also going to be building a lot of the buildings in here out of a very similar build palette, although I will try to mix it up so it's not too samey throughout the whole town. But yeah, if we go over here, our chest monster is starting to look more like your traditional chest monster. I could no longer fit everything inside of the hole here. I guess I could have gone 1 tier higher on these ones. Maybe that's what I should have done, but yeah, we've got a lot of stone and a lot of dirt. Oh, that one's gravel. Look, we didn't get very much gravel. Actually, there's a little bit of stone in here. Probably didn't have room. But yeah, these are all right filled up with dirt and stone, but it's good. I'm glad we have it all. It's all going to be useful stuff. We're going to need a bunch of the dirt to level out the terrain here. I really wanted to, for a minute I was like, oh, I should just keep going and bring this bottom level here up and start working on this terraforming, but we're way too deep and we're way too late in the recording window to get it done now. But the next episode, we'll start working on the walls. We'll start working on the melon farm, and then we'll probably try to squeeze in something else too. I feel like now we're going on 2 or 3 episodes and we haven't really built a structure inside of this place. And I really want to see this mining colony start to come to life. But we've got a solid footprint now. We've got a beautiful backdrop for the town and something that's going to be really epic when you're coming through the gates, looking up at this manicured mountain. And then again, we'll have our sightline blocked here. So when you come through the gate, you won't be able to see the opening. It's going to be a road with buildings. You're always going to have the mountain up above the buildings. And then when you turn the corner here, you've got the big cave opening, which we'll decorate and make pretty. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it came out. It's not what I thought we were doing in this episode, but I'm glad we did it because it was a big project and it needed to get done. And once I got going, I just got motivated to keep going. And sometimes you just got to follow with what's working with you. You can't really force these things sometimes. And if you're feeling inspired to do something specific in your world, it's better to just tackle it in that moment, especially if it's something as grindy as this. If you're feeling inspired to do it, latch onto that and use it to your advantage, because if you had to just grind this out and you really wanted to be working on buildings, it would be such a drag. But since I was just so ready to do it, and it just felt like every block I was placing was falling where I wanted it, that it just worked out for me. But super happy with how it came out. Next episode, we make some progress in the colony. I want to say a special thank you to everyone who's subbed so far and watched all the videos. I hope you're enjoying the journey. I hope it's getting a little better with each one, and I hope you're excited to see what's to come. We did finally hit our milestone for monetizing the channel. Some memberships are open. If you're interested, that's awesome. I totally appreciate it. If you're not interested, don't worry about it. The biggest thing you can do to help the channel, as always, is just keep watching the videos and maybe like them and maybe subscribe. But if you made it this far in the video, I appreciate you. Thanks for sticking around. Have a good one. Hey, how's it going? We got a lot to do today. Let's get to work. Last episode, we got a little carried away with our landscaping. We got the mountain done. We got a nice pathway and a valley between the 2 hills. But today, we've got to get this melon farm built. The whole point of building this thing was that we would be collecting melons while we're working on the area around it. And I wanted to get a good stockpile there so that we could start getting some emeralds. Because after I finish the mining colony, I think the next area we're going to work on is going to be featured around villager trading. So I was hoping to get a good stockpile of emeralds started before we got there, but that's all right. We got a lot more to do in this village, so even if we get it built this episode, I think we'll still collect quite a few melons. And probably I'll do 2 layers, 1 melon, 1 pumpkin is my current thought process, but we'll see once we really start getting there and start grinding it out. I did start working on some more of the wall, kind of between episodes. Right now the wall is nothing exciting. I still need to go back through and texture it, but it's just so much faster if I can just keep like the 4 main building blocks of the wall in my inventory, and I can crank out a pretty big area of the wall really fast. So for now, we'll probably build the whole wall just like this in pure stone brick and spruce logs, and then we'll go back through later on and texture in the mossy brick and the andesite and the walls, just to give it a little more character. But in the spirit of getting the wall done, I think for now we'll build it in just straight up brick. I also decided, as I kind of think I mentioned last episode, to tie the wall into this cliff after all. I figure it's steep enough here that it's still a pretty defensible wall, and I like the idea of having a totally separate gatehouse over here for this valley walkway. And I didn't want the wall to come all the way down here. It would just, I don't know, for some reason it would take away from this for me. So I like the idea of the mining colony tying into this cliff and tying into that cliff with just like a small gatehouse over here protecting the valley pathway. So this episode, we're going to get this melon farm built. It's going to be pretty big. I think I mentioned before, like the platforms that the melons are on themselves, I'm going to make at least like 9 by 9. And then we're going to need 2 blocks to the side of that. So it's going to take up probably most of this little area right here. I don't think all of the buildings in this colony are going to be that big, but this one, just due to the nature of what we're putting inside of it, is going to have to be pretty big. We're trying to make a lot of the builds in this area seem very like fortified and substantial, and this one's not going to be much different from that. It's going to be a very thick building. We've got to get some materials gathered real quick. It's still mostly the same palette, stone with spruce wood. We may mix it up on some of the other buildings, but especially this one where it's so big. I wanted to go with materials that I knew I had on hand and I knew we could get, you know, put together relatively fast. We might need to go get some more redstone and what is the stuff in the nether that's white? Quartz. We might need to get some more quartz and redstone. But other than that, we should have a lot of the materials we need to get this thing built. Let's make it happen.
I could be your security. There's no guarantee on anything. And I'll take care
we've got everything we need. We've got 3 shulkers here that should contain everything, plus a little bit of extra stuff in my inventory. I did design this in creative ahead of time, so I'm 95% sure it will be a functional melon and pumpkin farm. The detailing is yet to be discovered. Hopefully I'll get inspired as we start to actually build the structure. I'll probably start up by building the actual farm itself right in the middle, and then we'll kind of shape the building around it. It's gonna be 2 tiers, pumpkins and melons, and then a little mine cart in between them that's kind of collecting them up and dropping them down to the bottom level. But we'll have like a door that walks in, and then you'll walk down a little staircase, and that's where you'll collect your stuff. But that'll all make a lot more sense after I build it. I am pushing it. As you can see, this is kind of my markers. This is kind of the outline of the size, just a little bit offset to this corner of the village. I want to leave enough room between this corner of the building and the wall. You gotta remember these walls are 3 blocks wide, so the wall actually comes out to here, and then you have like little footers on the wall, and then I want there to be enough room between the building and the wall that you can still walk around everything in the colony, especially since we'll probably end up putting a gatehouse over on this wall somewhere, just so that it's not one big long flat wall. So that'll probably end up going right here. This is just our little villagery like this. I didn't even do the backside of our boulder for our villager storage. I went to go take the thumbnail for the last video, and I was like, oh no, I have that huge blocky square there, so I threw some rocks in the front of it, but I didn't bother to decorate the back. That's all right, because we're probably going to move all these guys back into this corner maybe. I don't know. Like I said, we want to build that prison, but now that I'm looking at how big the melon farm is, this is going to be way too close, because I want a pathway that gets to this gate over here. So this is either going to have to move back, or maybe it'll just move into the village more. We'll see. Whatever makes more sense. Maybe once we get this built, we can start kind of really getting these roads in place, and that'll give us a better idea of the footprint for the colony. But first things first, we gotta get this melon farm built, start getting some emeralds.
Ooh, stretch my back and legs. Well, now what did the younger me become? I make some coffee and a plan, and I decide on oats and eggs. Blow my cares away. Ooh, prepares me for the things that come. Yeah, beautiful morning, keeping me alive when the darkness comes. Ooh, that kind of a morning. It's the natural feeling that will make it.
Okay, thought I would do a quick check-in. Here's the melon/pumpkin farm. And I know upon initial viewing, you're probably thinking, wonder why you left this extra gap here between the two. That must be some like high-tech, super fancy redstone stuff. It's definitely not because I don't know how to count and just thought I was being smart by accounting for this redstone taking up a block and put a whole extra block in there. But we built it from the top down, which was a bad idea. If you notice, I got my elytra on because I had to fly to get to the 1 block hole and plant all this stuff, and then fly to put the rails down. And at that point, I was kind of committed to building the thing from the top down. So then I had to just keep doing that all the way through. So if you do try to replicate this, I recommend starting at the bottom and working your way up. That was not very efficient, but it is functional. We are getting melons. We are getting pumpkins. Just jump down here real quick. Look at that. Pumpkins and melons. I didn't have any light for the pumpkins. That was a good catch. Because these are like below ground and there's no side light, I had to put torches up. I was worried at first that it just wasn't working, and then I realized they probably weren't growing because they're not getting enough light level. So I had to throw torches all the way around. I think I've seen people build these farms by just lining the edge with glowstone, and we could just spam torches and stuff. Once the building's up around this thing, we'll light it up as good as we can. But it's functional. We've got more melons than I've gotten at that one in Greg's basement, like over the last 4 weeks, just while I was building the pumpkin level. So yeah, it's working. Now we've got to build a building around it. And luckily I started at the top and dug down because this extra air gap would have really messed things up, but it's not any taller than it was always going to be because I built it. It's technically 1 block too far down now, I think, because I left this air gap, but that's fine. That's not going to mess us up. Other than, you know, a couple wasted hoppers, there's really no big deal. There are definitely better ways to do like unloading on hopper minecarts, but I'm not a redstone guy and I didn't feel like looking up a tutorial, so I just made it work. It's functional. If this thing was any more efficient, it probably wouldn't drop the material fast enough and the minecart would overload, but because this farm's only 2 levels, you're not getting that much flow through it, so just having a few hoppers in a row for it to drive over is plenty to get that minecart empty. Now for the more fun part. It's gonna be chunky, gonna be solid. It might even say it's sturdy. Let's get to building.
In your mind, aren't they the hardest ones to climb?
And there it is, the melon farm. The shell actually went up way faster than the actual farm on the inside. Just goes to show you when you build things from the ground up versus the up ground, it goes a lot smoother. A couple lessons learned. I knew it was big, but I think it might even be a little bit bigger than I wanted it to be. The problem was I needed this big square because the melon farm on the inside is just square platforms, right? So the building, this is kind of the smallest the main portion of the building could be, but I needed it to have some character outside of being a big square. So I added these like castle, like wall towers, but I shortened them obviously because I didn't want this thing to be sky high. So I thought maybe going with like a small towers on each corner would look cool. And I do really like the shape, but it does make the footprint quite large. The melon and pumpkin farm is very serious in this mining colony. They take their melons very seriously here. I also wish that I could have extended the wall out at least one more block, because if you look when we walk in the door here, boom, you're in the melon farm. I wasn't able to like obscure this in any way because obviously, you know, this is as wide as I wanted the building to be. So it's not pretty on the inside and there's really no way to make it pretty. But we don't really need to come in here except to grab our melons and pumpkins. So, you know, it is what it is. And then, as you can see, we're already making melons and pumpkins. I say we grab these up, go visit Rita and the cook, and see what they got for melon and pumpkin trades. I wish I had mixed the block palette up a little bit, especially now seeing it here in the colony. It is very similar to the wall, and we are going to texture the wall more. Like this new wall section is very stone brick, but we're going to get a lot more andesite and mossy cobble and mossy stone brick mixed into the walls to hopefully differentiate the two. But we may need to come back and either change some of this lower block palette to some kind of gradient or put some more detailing to kind of cover up more of the brick. But this fence and these leaves do a decent job of this like big brick face, but I think we could do a little bit more to kind of separate it from the rest of the walls. The next build that we do, I think we'll go totally away from stone brick. Maybe we'll do some of the new tough stuff. I'm not sure yet, but we're definitely gonna like mix up our block palette a little bit. We're getting a little bit too samey in this area now, so you build and you learn. That's what this series is kind of about. It's just about me trying new stuff and trying to get a little better with every build. Anyway, let's go check in on Greg, Rita, and the cook. I think next episode, we might start working on this pathway. We'll definitely level out this front area and get a solid carved path that's gonna be kind of our permanent path. Maybe we'll plant some trees and stuff. I don't think we'll build the bridge. I don't know, maybe that's a good idea. Maybe next episode, just to get us a little bit of separation from this tiny little corner of our world, maybe we'll put a lot of work in on this path. That could be a good idea. It'd be cool to build this bridge here and put some trees and decorations. I want to dig this gorge. See how that's like really, don't dare get off my horse here. Don't you run away. See how this gorge is pretty deep here? I'd like to kind of extend this through here so you're really riding this bridge over like a cavern. And then our path block is kind of the other thing we want to put some thought into. Like, do we want to keep it as a carved path, or do we want to start mixing in some like gravel and coarse dirt and make it more of like a beaten path? Some stuff I got to think about between episodes. All right, I know Rita hasn't been refreshing her trade, so I probably need to look into that. She has a job block in there, but for whatever reason, she's either not accessing it, or because I'm not actually in the woodcutting village that much lately, she's just not getting a chance to refresh it. But every time I've come in here to talk to the cook, he's had new trades. Ah, sweet, sweet emeralds. Oh, actually, you know what? Our hoe is pretty broken. Might as well get some XP on this thing while we're doing some trades. Does he do melons too? Oh, we need to craft them up. Is there a crafting table in here? Well, I guess he's the cook. He's not the maker, so I guess we'll go over to check on Rita. We'll be back. Man, I really do love how this little town came out. Every time I come back here, I'm like, oh yeah, this is beautiful. Just love hanging out here. It's exactly the kind of vibe I was going for. Just a nice, quiet, small town in the Bay Area. See, look, her melons are still sold out, and they've been sold out for like a long time. I don't know if this being on the other side of the bed or something. I don't know. Let's see if we can find a better location for her. I mean, it looks stupid there, but yeah, look at that. Immediately. I bet you got new trades. No. I don't know. Maybe we got to spend some more time here in the woodcutting village. Maybe I'll try to AFK here later or something, but it'd be nice if, you know, we could trade with all of our villagers. What was I doing? Oh yeah, crafting table. Is there still one hiding back here? No, we switched it for a lectern. Down to the storage room. Hey, Greg. Yeah, we're kind of in the middle of something. Nah, don't worry about it. I'll be back. I've got something very specific in mind for this particular... These doors are annoying. I need to try that door trick. Someone commented, I wish I could remember their name now, but if you place a door down sideways and then close it, the game actually considers that like opening the door. So zombies AI breaks and they won't come in even though the door is technically open. Yes, sweet, sweet emeralds. But unfortunately we have to go spend a few of them right away because we need to name our horse. Greg, how are you this fine mid-afternoon? Thank you for the tag. From this day forward, our horse will be called Birdie. I got a few horse name suggestions, and this is just kind of the first one I read and that stuck out to me. So apologies if your name wasn't picked, but I'm sure there will be more horses in the future. Birdie. Hopefully that's not a reference to something I don't understand, but I do think it's kind of a funny name for a horse. So that's what I went with. I believe Steven was also a close follow-up, but Birdie takes it. All right, we moved Rita's job block, and now she's had a nice sleep. Let's see. Still no trades. Oh, crap. Keep doing that. I'm never going to remember to replace that pot. What about right in the middle of the floor, Rita? Can you get to that? Maybe she can't get her bed. I've seen her lay in this, though. We'll do this. There. Can you claim that? Your general storage is looking ridiculous now. I hope you're happy. I don't think the bed matters because I've built villager trading halls before and I've never put beds in them, so who knows. Let's buy a few more carrots and grab our ender chest. And then I think we'll finish out this episode putting in a little bit more work on the wall. I think if we really push through here, I can get the entire wall done because it's really not that much left to go. And now that I've had a lot of practice with like the other parts of the wall, I think that this last section is going to go even faster. And I think I'm going to stream it. So this will have already happened if you're watching this, but I think I'm going to stream building this last section of wall over on Twitch. I don't think I'm going to do anything fancy at this point. Again, it's just going to be the basic stone blocks, and we're not going to build the gatehouse yet. For now, we're just going to go with a flat wall. But I think I can get that done, and I've got a little bit of time here, so again, if you want to catch the live streams, I stream over on Twitch occasionally. I don't really have a schedule. It's kind of just when I have time or when I have something I need to grind out anyway, and it's just a good place to do it and, you know, not be by myself the whole time. So if you want to check those out, follow me there. I try to post in our Discord when I go live there, and I also usually put up a community post. Let me know if those community posts get annoying. I try not to, I don't really want to spam everyone's subscription feed with community posts constantly, but I just don't really know a better way to let people know. And I just don't love live streaming on YouTube right now, so kind of Twitch is where it's at. So for now, look out for community posts, and then if you really want to be on top of it, there's a channel in the Discord that kind of pings everyone when I go live there as well. So that's an option for you too. Anyway, if you're just here for the YouTube video, you'll get a nice, beautiful little montage, or maybe a time lapse. I don't know. Be back in a minute.
Life is good, life is good, yeah. Life is good, life is good, yeah. Yeah, in my darkest times, you got me feeling like
there it is. Feels good to have that one checked off the list. It actually went pretty smoothly. We got like this whole L shape and this whole straightaway down all the way to the side of the mountain done in like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours tops. Oh, geez. Birdie, you gotta help me out here. I'm trying to talk, trying to ride and talk and do things. I mean, you could just like, hey, watch over that hole, dude. That's all. That's all I asked, Birdie. Yeah. We got the wall done. We do need to put a gatehouse in over here. This is probably the worst angle just because it's so much continuous pattern. I may go back through and take every other lantern out and add some other type of detail. It's just a little bit too much lantern, at least when you're close. From far away, it doesn't like strike me as much, but up close, these like really stand out. So I might do like a stone wall or some other type of detail for the in-between spots. But overall, I'm happy with the pattern, the shape, and the design. I still want to go back through and add the mossy stone, add some andesite, and texture it up quite a bit. And I want to put a gatehouse in like right here, not directly in line with the melon farm, but somewhere offset here, just to break up the shape of this one section of wall, which is really flat now. Let's go sleep first, and then let's take a look from the inside. We can actually torch up the inside now, which is gonna be nice, and then we'll be mostly safe in here. I might actually start working through the night on some of these nights, because it really is beautiful with shaders. And this is a lot easier to mob proof when you have a literal wall around the entire city, so might start doing some night work to improve our cutscenes and cinematics. We'll see. It's also hard to torch spam a big area like that without it being obvious. I mean, you can moss carpet and stuff, but it's going to stand out eventually. It's nice to make some real progress on this place. Get a building up, we got the wall done. We're starting to get kind of a really nice enclosed feeling here. A couple more buildings and this place is gonna really start to come together. We're gonna definitely get away from the palette of the stone bricks, and I may even come back through. The more I look at this, I hate how samey it is with the walls. I do think like the shape of the building is cool, so it's salvageable, but I just might put, I don't know, some other type of detail or some other type of block to kind of take up a lot of this space. But next build, I think we might either go tough or maybe we even go like with a really dark deep slate or something and work on the prison and make it look really ominous and evil. I don't know. I'll have to do some thinking between episodes here, but we got a lot done today and that feels good. And I think we'll actually bust out our elytra for the first time in a little while and do one quick little fly around just to get a peek at what this thing looks like from the sky, because I think with the walls up and some actual buildings on the inside, we're gonna have some decent views of this thing. So let's see what this looks like. We'll even hit a little F1 action just to get an extra. Oh, don't mind that. I found there's 3 slime chunks here all right next to each other. So we're gonna dig that out at some point. And mostly I'm just gonna like use it to gather stone for the build. But I figured if I was gonna be gathering a bunch of stone and stuff, you might as well do it productively. So this is actually going to be a slime farm someday, but that's not even on the radar yet. That's just a little side project, but let's see. Oh yeah. See this? I love that there's this change of elevation too. I gotta hit F1 so I can point. This little change in elevation of the wall, it actually does quite a bit to break up that like long straight section of wall. Yeah. And actually from a distance, it really doesn't blend as much as I was worried, especially where you have so much wood on the top of this roof. And then obviously the wall is all stone on the top, right? So you still have stone kind of against a lot of wood. So from the outside of the city, it doesn't clash as much. But from the inside, I think it is still a little samey. So let's put some work in there. I appreciate all the support and comments and interactions in the last video. It's so cool to be able to do something like this and have other people sharing it and enjoying it as well. Let's get one more angle from over here and see how it looks coming from this direction. We don't have any builds this way, but you'd still want to check all our angles just to be sure. Oh yeah. See, especially with this hill, we gotta, oh, whoops. I guess we gotta clean up the top of this mountain still. I guess I never came back and finished terraforming that area, but you can't see it from the other directions. I just don't even notice it. But the build itself, I love how it's tucked in this nook between these 2 big hills. Originally, I thought I was gonna take this hill all the way down, but I think I like now that it's here. So it kind of gives a real boxed in feeling, which I wanted this place to feel very like fortified and tucked into the mountain. So this hill actually I think does a lot to help sell that. So especially once we start getting buildings down in here, I think that's really going to come together well. But that's all we have time for this episode. You made it this far. I appreciate you. Thanks for sticking around. Have a good one. Hey, how's it going? I think to get a good breakup from working in this little tiny corner of our world, we're gonna put some serious work in on this path that connects the woodcutting village to the mining colony. I'm tired of riding back and forth on this boring path because most of our storage is still over there in Greg's basement. So I really want something beautiful to look at while I'm going back and forth between the colonies. I'm still not using my elytra very much, so if we're gonna ride this horse around, we gotta have something worth looking at. The other thing we're gonna try to do is work on the landscaping right here in front of the gatehouses. I think if we can expand this top tier out like 10 blocks, and then move each of the tiers below it out a similar distance to the point that we're filling in this big hole here, probably up to this level is where the path will approach, or maybe even this level. I want the mining colony to kind of be up on a pedestal here, but I don't want it to be a steep hill going up to the gatehouse. So once we pull these layers out about this far, and we bring the normal ground level for this area out, maybe to like that cow, if we bring this whole area up to this level, I think it's really gonna sell that you're approaching the mining colony, and then once we get this gatehouse finished and we get this path figured out coming up to the colony, that's really gonna sell this grand effect as you're walking up and going through the gatehouse. Before we get to that though, I think we're gonna just work on getting the actual path perfectly outlined how we want it. I'm not saying it won't change, because once we terraform this area a little bit, we may decide that we want to do a little more or a little bit less of an angle on this pathway. But for now, I want to go back through and widen this thing out to at least 3 blocks wide, and then we'll come back through the pathway and start putting in some of our different block types in the pathway. I think we're gonna go with a similar palette to what we used over there in the woodcutter village, which is like, you know, I think it's packed mud, path blocks, gravel, and coarse dirt. And then we may mix in a few like oak planks here and there. When we get over to the woodcutter village, I'll show you a little spot where we use a wood plank. And I actually like the way the oak wood plank looks next to a path block. They actually blend pretty well. And I think it could just add some interesting texture and differentiation as we go down the path. If we get through all of that in a reasonable amount of time, I think we'll also finally build this bridge. The biggest thing with this bridge, oh yes, beautiful, it's gonna rain. It's all right, it'll make the sunny shots when we're coming back this way look a little bit nicer. But anyway, we'll work on this bridge, we'll get this thing looking nice, and I also want to dig this trench out underneath so that when we're driving across, when we're riding our horse across the bridge, we can look down and it feels like this bridge had to be here. Versus right now, there's not really a good explanation why they wouldn't have just taken the path down the less steep part of the hill. But if we can dig this out a little ways and we put some trees to kind of block the sight line here, it'll sell this as like, oh, this bridge is crossing this ravine and it was kind of the only way they could settle a road through here. The other thing I want to do is put some trees to help frame up this view. When I'm coming across this bridge, I really want the mining colony to be like the major thing that you notice. So I think if we block this little area here with like a big oak tree, and then we put some more trees over here in like this valley, but we leave the actual mining colony itself pretty open. We'll leave this tree just so it's not like a weird tunnel to the mining colony. But if we can frame it here and frame it here, when you're coming across, oh geez, careful. But if we can frame it here and frame it here, when you're coming across this bridge, it'll really make this stand out as, oh, that's the next major destination on our path, to kind of give you an idea of where you're going. It's like when video games give you like a preview from a mountainside pathway of the city that you're going to explore. That's the way it looks in my brain. We'll see once we start getting path blocks and trees and stuff laid out. Where did our horse go? I think I just saw him down here in this valley. Uh-oh. Birdie! Ah, there he is. For this area, I think I want to bring this path even closer to this bowl. I want it to feel almost precarious when you're coming along the edge here. So it feels like you're looking down, you're like, oh no, I don't want to fall down there into this major hole. We may put some like fence posts like that settlers have put along the way so that people didn't fall down into the hole. But I want to sell the feeling of like riding along the ridge of this hole. We may even dig this one a little deeper to help create that effect even more. And then the finishing touches will be some kind of lighted lamppost. I want a way for the pathway to be lit so that we can ride it at night reasonably safely. I'm not saying we're going to spawn proof the whole valley, but it'd be nice if nothing spawned directly on the road at least. That's the plan. I don't know what the lampposts are going to look like yet. We may just do like lanterns on a fence post, or we may make some like rudimentary looking fence post. It's not going to be something you'd find like in a city or a major colony. They're going to be like rough, and maybe there's like a rider that goes between the villages in the night to light the torches for people. I think that'll also help sell future roads where we can have like dark sections where it'll kind of feel less traveled and more, you know, spooky, if that's the right word. So here's an example of the path blocks we're gonna go for. I might mix like the densities up as we go and get some more variation. We do have some andesite here too. It actually doesn't look terrible, but I think we'll probably start mixing in more stone and andesite as we get closer to the mining colony. But for now, it'll be packed mud, gravel, spruce planks occasionally. Again, just here and there. You gotta be careful with these because here it works because it's framed by these other blocks. But if you just put this spruce plank like right in the middle of a bunch of path blocks, because it sticks up and it isn't quite the right shade, it does stick out quite a bit. So we'll use those sparingly, but it'll be a good way to mix things up. I don't know if our bridge is going to be stone or wood yet either, so we haven't even designed it yet. And then yeah, coarse dirt, gravel, packed mud. Those are our major blocks. I think I actually drove by on the way in here. I've already got a shulker box kind of full of those materials. What I did is I made one row of coarse dirt, one row of gravel, and one row of packed mud. And I want to see how far that gets us down the pathway. I'm hoping this will get us most of the way, but if it doesn't get us most of the way, it'll give us a good idea of how much we're going to need to finish it, because we have such a specific amount in here. It'll give us a good idea of how much blocks we're actually using for the path. And then I also need to get another shulker box just of dirt blocks so that we can landscape that area over there by the mining colony. That's the plan. First things first, get the path really figured out, get that area leveled, and we'll get the blocks mixed in. I'll probably check in once I have the blocks mixed in, and then, you know, we'll do some detailing beside the path to help finish it off. Oh, I guess I can show you real quick, actually. We built the, I think it's, oh, we gotta tie our horse up. I always forget to tie this guy up. You'd be surprised how far a horse will wander. What's up, Greg? Yeah. No, yeah, I'm got plans right now in my head for your room, actually. I just don't quite have the time to work on it yet. So yeah, we built the Il Mango mud farm something. I don't even know what it's called. Go watch his video if you want to know how to make it, because I probably can't even explain it correctly. Oh, we gotta get some dirt. If you do try to make this farm, let me warn you a few things ahead of time. This is gonna spit water bottles up this little floaty thing. You're gonna want to cover the top because this thing will actually launch and the water bottles can get stuck on the corners of this glass. You're gonna want to make sure you're using a slow-ish shovel. Originally, I was trying to use my diamond efficiency shovel, and you get ahead of the machine and you start just mining dirt, and then the bottles back up and you get dirt down here and the whole thing breaks. And then you have to like go through and clean all the hoppers and dispensers and make everything work again. So make sure you're using a slow-ish shovel. I decided to just go with a plain Jane diamond shovel because I wasn't having any issues. I wasn't gonna head anything. There was no mess ups happening anymore. So I'm just gonna stick with that. There's probably a sweet spot where you could get like a really low efficiency or something, but we'll probably just throw mending and unbreaking on one of these things and it'll be our mud shovel. So this is how it works. You hold right click and that places your block. And then all you do is while you're still holding that, you hold the other click and it just breaks the blocks and places the blocks. Just like that. There's a little dropper right here that I just filled with this dirt and it spits out one dirt block every time you place one. So you can fill this up, fill this whole chest up, and it kind of just keeps supplying your offhand with dirt. And that's pretty much all there is to it. I mean, probably on a technicality, it's faster to go find, see we got one dirt block in here, you gotta be really careful about that. That's when you can really start breaking things. It would probably be faster just to go to a swamp biome and mine the mud, but being able to do it right here in Greg's basement, and all I have to do is use up the dirt that I already have, which I have so much dirt. I had to make a little expansion room here, and I'm gonna start filling with more chests because we just end up with so much dirt and stone that we just needed somewhere to put it. Yeah, that's how we got the mud. And then we took the mud and mixed it with every last piece of wheat we had pretty much. We have one row of wheat left. So hopefully we don't need a lot more packed mud because we're gonna have to make a much more efficient wheat farm. Otherwise, we're never gonna be able to get enough mud. So let's go to sleep. Let's get our stuff together. And let's start working on this pathway.
When I came over to your house, I dreamt that I was bleeding out, and I woke with you inside of my mouth, and questions of the why and how again.
Alrighty, thought I'd do a check-in. Let's look at what we've done so far. So, as usual, I massively underestimated how much work this was going to be. I mean, I knew this was going to be a decent amount of work just because it's a really long path, but there was a lot more terraforming that had to happen over by the mining colony in the valley, and also at the bottom of the step down after the bridge. I wasn't expecting to have to level out so much area there, and then it's just really hard to fine-tune these paths where the road feels like a nice cohesive width, but also is interesting in the way that it turns. Like, see, even looking at this now, I wish this curved just slightly more. So this is what I mean. It's just a constant game of like tweak, and then, you know, every time you move one side of the road, now you have to bring the other side in. But you see how this feels like it's like a, how to explain it? It's like a diagonal path versus this is kind of curving this way already. And this already starts to curve back, but it just doesn't quite turn enough, if that makes sense. And you always have to do more than you expect to. So I think we're actually going to come back probably to here. So yeah, that's kind of the game, as you can see. It's just a lot of tweaking until you find just the right balance. Get rid of all this junk. Until you get just the right balance where the road flows, but doesn't feel too, you know, intentionally directional. It has to be a path that like feels like they were trying to follow the terrain, if that makes sense. But I'm pretty happy with the overall shape now. When we start putting trees and fence posts in, we may change it slightly in some of the corners, you know, if it just works for the setting, but this is definitely a good overall shape. And I'm sure you saw in the time lapse kind of what the bird's eye view looked like it. I'm definitely happy with that shape overall. The moment to moment on the ground, like we might tweak a block here and there to get the width just right. And when we put in our blending blocks for our actual path blocks, I think it'll help a lot too. The path blocks are just such a stark difference from the grass that you really gotta get the shape just right, otherwise it just looks out of place. Also, we have to fix these again. I'm always doing this when I build up my terrain and not putting a lip here. So when you create the path block, you have this annoying see-through bit, but that is what it is. We can fix all that stuff later. Yeah, I'm happy with the overall shape now, and we've got a lot more work to do still. I don't think we're gonna get the bridge done. I think the bridge is gonna have to be next episode. I think next episode we'll do the bridge, the gatehouse and maybe the valley gatehouse. I don't know. It's hard to break this stuff up in reasonable chunks so that it feels like we're making progress, but also I can get it done without killing myself. We're gonna get the pathway done. We're gonna get it decorated. It's gonna look cool. We're gonna get light posts and trees and texture blocks. We're gonna get all that done. I'll probably just stop right before the bridge and start right after it. There'll be one little unfinished mark in the middle of our episode, but that's okay. Baby steps. You gotta look at projects like this as incremental steps, and you can't expect to get it all done in one sitting. You just gotta be happy that you're making progress with every bit, and I'll be pretty happy if we can get this whole thing textured and get some decorations around it. But if I'm gonna get this thing done on time, I need to get back to work. See you in a minute.
Heat of the summer over desert land, where the sun beats down like a cattle brand. No sign of water, but you quench my thirst. You're the only one living, and still you burn. You're a sight to see, so fierce, so free, such a mystery. Keep going your way, don't ever change, baby. I see you shining in a world of shade. Try to steal your color, but you still don't fade. I wanna take you to the after hour. Cactus flower, you're my cactus flower. I see your petals, I see your wildflower side. I wanna see you dancing in that light. I wanna hold you, I wanna pull you close, keep you warm in the winter when you're out on your
It was definitely a lot of work, but it was worth it. I don't think I could be much more happy with the way this thing turned out. Sure, there's more tweaks that could be made. There's a few things that if I did it again, I might change. It wasn't my intention initially to put fences so often, but as I went, I just really liked the looks of a bordered path. So we ended up carrying a significant amount more fences all the way down to the mining colony, but it really does give you this nice, like, tight pathway feeling. I like how this turned out. I did carve this hill. It's almost unnoticeably different, but I just took off a few layers. That's why you see more like exposed stone here, because we carved off just a few layers of grass so that this was a little more steep, and it made this handrail feel much more needed, I guess. We didn't get around to digging this hole deeper. I kind of forgot about it, honestly, but we'll probably come back and dig this out so that there's another kind of fall off and this little middle section feels slightly more precarious. I planted trees pretty often. I really wanted it to feel tight knit. Eventually I'd like to go out behind here and probably fill in more of these areas with trees so that it's not just the single layers. I did it in some places where there was big gaps I put extra trees in, but for the most part it's just enough trees to kind of obscure your vision when you're on the path. Come on, birdie, come on. We're doing a tour, bro. I put lamps pretty often. We may come back through and make those lampposts I was talking about, but in terms of just getting this thing to a finished enough state, for now we're just putting them on the fences. And I actually think like the look of having a lantern sitting on a fence works pretty well, so I'm not mad about that at all. You get a couple little sneak peeks of the mining colony, and then when you get to the bridge, you still have just enough of a view of it where you can see the melon farm and the walls. I ended up coming in late and planting a couple trees right in front of the gatehouses, and it did end up obscuring the gatehouse some, but you'll see when we get up there, it really helps sell that walk up to the gatehouse, so I'm gonna leave them there. You still get some nice sneak peeks of it so you can see it as you're walking down the path. I do wish you could like get a big grand shot of the entire thing at some point, but I think what we have now works. We didn't really change up this terrain too much in this area. We widened this out just ever so slightly so we could fit some walls and fences. And you can see that we did go with that same palette. We didn't end up using any spruce planks actually, except for when we're walking up slopes. Then we used the spruce planks just to help if someone's gonna walk down the path on foot. It just makes it a little bit more smooth. You don't have to do a bunch of jumping when you're going down through the way. Eventually we'll branch off here. I have a little bit of a slime farm started there. It's only like 2 blocks dug below that. There's like 3 slime chunks right next to each other right here. So eventually we'll build a slime farm there. and we'll want a little pathway or a road maybe going that way. I'm trying to decide. The next big area after the mining colony is going to be villager themed in terms of like villager trades. And I don't know if I want to put it over here in this corner of the valley, or maybe that's what we'll do with our new valley out behind. The question is, do we want a linear like journey from like woodcutting village, mining colony, villager, or do we want to start by making a triangle? And I think making like a triangle between these three could be a really good footprint for the start of this world. But that's all up in the air at this point. Our little chest monster, while we've been working on the mining colony, we may have to move to a more permanent storage solution actually in the walls. It is a little bit annoying walking over here all the time, but it's close enough. And I think it actually kind of fits, like it's kind of a neat little destination along the path to add a little bit of character. This area is where we brought all of those tiers out to. So this originally was way up there by the mining colonies. We used quite a bit of dirt getting this out here. And then this tier is obviously that next tier. So we brought each one out pretty far. And then when we get up here, we still kept it a little bit steep, so there's kind of a cool walk up for the final end of the pathway. And then we put two big dark oaks here, which I think is one of the trees that's kind of obscuring the gatehouse, but I think that these two big dark trees help kind of frame the end of the pathway, and it just gives it kind of a cool effect as you approach up to the castle. One area that is definitely not finished is I threw up these bushes just because I need to come back through and figure something out with these path blocks. I might actually use bushes, but maybe some other kind of like manicured rows. I just don't know what to do with this big unspawnable area. He spawned when we were doing terraforming, I think. I think this area is still stone golem proof, but when we were digging dirt blocks over here and placing new blocks, I think he ended up spawning on one of them. Yeah, that's the pathway. I love it. We can do a quick reverse loop here on our horsey. It's definitely still horseable. There's a couple areas that get a little bit tight. I think when we get this little archway here too, this is gonna be such a cool little area. This tree grew big, and I like getting the big oak trees occasionally, but this one does look a little out of place. The leaf generation just doesn't look right, so this needs some manicuring. There's a few spots of touch up, but I'm definitely happy with the overall. And then when you come around this corner, we left one little opening here with no trees so that you can get just a little peek at the backside of Greg's Tavern. But it's still obscured enough that it doesn't feel like it's right next door to the colony. Yeah, that's it. It took actually way less mud and coarse dirt and gravel than I really expected. The biggest thing that I actually used way more of was these spruce fences. This is a lot of spruce fences. I think it was like 8 stacks of spruce fences that we ended up using. So I only started with one, assuming that I would just be putting down kind of sparse spruce fence posts, but we ended up doing a lot more of that. And I also, when I got to these diagonals, I actually kind of like this, like you put like a fence post and then a spruce wall and a fence post. You can still walk between these, but it still gives the, like, I don't know. Originally I had just like fence post, fence post, fence post, and it was just too much wood. And especially where these are so spindly, it looked like a huge gap here. And I was like, well, that's not really protecting anyone. But the wall fills it up just enough, and it's a good breakup in the texture. I probably should do something here with more fence posts to break up these 3 walls, but it works. Over time, as I see stuff, I'll probably come back in through here and kind of move fence posts or move walls, tweak some tree bushes. A couple areas through here, the trees got kind of close to the pathway, and I did trim those back. It's gonna be so nice having an actual nice path to ride down as we go back and forth. I really do go back and forth between these 2 places like 100 times an episode, and usually it's because I get all the way over there and forgot, oh crap, I needed gold or something, and then I had to run all the way back here to get it. But now I have a nice beautiful path I think it's totally spawn proof everywhere on the path all the way through. I probably could even get away with removing a couple lanterns, but I like the effect, especially as it starts to get dark. You get a lot of nice visible light, and it really brightens up the pathway in contrast to the area around it. So like as soon as this area right here has no lanterns in it, and you can tell like as you're approaching the woodcutting village, that just looks like such a dark spot, and I wanted the path to feel like bright and safe, if that makes sense. So like even in this tree, I hid one because I didn't want a dark spot on the wood line here. And all the way mends perfectly with the woodcutter village. That's all we have time for today. If you made it this far in the episode, thanks for sticking around. Have a good one.
Messed up, you are. Got me singing like I'm Yoda. You is, we aren't good company to
to each other. Narrator of my dreams, make it make sense. On the outside, I don't seem like anything less. Will someone ever tag along for the ride? Will someone ever tag along for the ride? Calm as you are, we'll listen to your favorite tune in your car. Why try to change me now? Time-based, but no time for us. No bitch, bad boys. You were scared to get me down. I trust my mama, you're no match for my bad karma. Broken shards of glass on our tongues. I'm far too scary to be what you like. Will someone ever tag along for the ride? Someone ever tag along for the ride? How nice you are. We'll listen to your favorite tune in your car. Why try to change me now? Time-based, but no time for us. No bitch, bad boys. You were scared to catch me now.
Hey, how's it going? We're back in the old school Let's Play world, and we're gonna build a bridge. And even more important than building the bridge, we're gonna dig a really, really big hole. I can't just put this bridge here without a reason for it to exist. So I wanna dig out a massive canyon. I'm gonna dig this thing from this big hole all the way at least to the edge of the forest here, or enough that I can kind of disappear it around the corner, so that when you're coming across the bridge, it really sells the effect of like, oh, this is precarious. And they needed to build this bridge in order to traverse this area because otherwise it would have gone way around or something like that. You know what I mean? I need the bridge to be needed in a way that they couldn't have just simply gone around the big hole, right? So we need to dig it far enough over there that it really like sells the effect. And yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing today. And to do that, we're gonna go through a lot of tools. This is gonna be a lot of dirt and a lot of stone. The dirt itself, I mean, maybe that's a couple shovel repairs, but we're gonna go through a lot of pickaxes, I think. I'd like to get the depth down. Probably not as deep as this little cavern over here goes, but pretty deep. Enough that it can sell, again, this like huge drop off that you wouldn't just like make a path down and then a path back up. So it has to be pretty steep and fairly deep. I don't know if we'll put water in it yet, but for now, we at least gotta dig the hole. And then finally, when we get through digging the hole, we're gonna build a bridge. But because we're gonna be destroying our tools like crazy doing this, I think we're gonna have to get ourselves set up with a way to quickly repair them. And the best way that I know of to get XP fast is with an ender. So before we get started on this project at all, we're gonna go to the end and we're gonna build a quick little Enderman XP farm, or an ender, or an ender farm, or whatever you like to call it. We're gonna go build one of those. I'll meet you when it's done. It's nothing exciting. It's a super basic one. It's just gonna be a flat platform, a drop chute, and a safe little space at the bottom that we can stab them. I don't even think we're gonna bother with a collection system because honestly, we don't need 20 inventories full of ender pearls. Maybe we'll do it just so I didn't think about that. It might lag stuff out if we don't at least collect ender pearls. We'll see. But for now, super simple. Cobblestone or stone, a drop chute, and a place to kill them. I'll check back in when it's done. And here it is. the Ender. Wasn't too bad. It was actually a lot more cobblestone than I thought. It was about an entire shulker box full of cobblestone, but you've got your flat platform on top, you've got your drop chute, which I try to do like a cool little intricate pattern, but it's just a chute of stone. The whole thing is just solid stone because I didn't want to bust out the expensive resources for something that, you know, is a temporary, efficient way to repair our tools for the much larger project of this episode, which is the canyon. So there's the drop chute, there's a little safe area with carpets on top of it so the Enderman can't jump up there, and then a place where you stab them. Let's go down there and check it out up close. I did bring the wings. Doing anything like this over the void is maybe the most scary thing you can do in Minecraft, because if you fall down there, you lose it all. Everything you've got is gone forever with no hope of rescue, and I just couldn't take that risk. So we did bring our elytra just for safe traveling, and you know, if we did fall off, we could zoom back up and not risk losing everything, but here it is. Oh, got a little XP left here from last time, and all the ender pearls. So we didn't make any collection system, as I kind of alluded to. They're just gonna land down here and get stuck. We slash on them with our sword. They give us a whole bunch of XP, and boom, look, we got this axe. I mean, obviously it's barely damaged right now, but instantly repaired. It's kind of loud. Let me fix that real quick. Okay, that should be better. That's much more reasonable. Okay, forgot about how loud the Endermen were. Yeah, super simple. Little platform, little too high, because Endermen can't jump them too high. I think technically they can teleport to these leaves, but even if they jump over here on us, they can't get us, so that's not a big deal. Yeah, you can get XP at this thing faster than you can even collect it, so I don't think we're going to get much more efficient than that. So we'll be able to just quickly run here when we're working on the... Man, I can't get over how weird the generation was on my end. It was all because of that crash, I think, when I first came into the end zone, but yeah, pillars are super messed up. There's like an extra one on each side. That's super weird. I built the ladder just in case, but whenever we come here, we're probably going to bring our elytra because it's just, again, it's too scary. If I fall off the edge here and lose everything, it's just going to be a bad time. And I don't have that kind of time, so we'll be safe. We can ride the horse most of the time still, but for this, we're playing it safe. We have enough gunpowder and sugarcane that, you know, the occasional use of rockets to get back and forth to here shouldn't be a big deal. There are a lot of ender pearls in there, and I did collect some. I actually technically, this is probably dangerous. Technically, I can probably sneak in here and collect some if I really wanted to. No, I guess I can't fit in there. Huh. That's 1 block high. You should be able to fit in a 1 block. Huh. I wonder why I can't fit in there. That's kind of strange. Well, anyway, I don't need the ender pearls, so it's not a big deal. There we go. We can repair our tools. Step 1 of this episode is now complete. Step 2 is going to be dig a giant hole. So let's run back up there real quick and get ourselves set up for what will be a pretty big grind, but think I've got a good solution for that. Whoops. I forgot we set our spawn here earlier. We gotta get birdie. Okay, so here's the plan. I've already dug this thing out in creative mode. I know that seems super excessive for digging a hole, but I really wanted to make sure that the shape of the canyon was just right. So I've done that ahead of time. So I already know exactly how it's gonna be. I just need to do it. And it's a lot of blocks. So we're gonna go get our beacon, set it up over here somewhere nice and convenient, and I think we're gonna live stream it. I don't think we'll get it all done on stream because this is probably, I don't know, it's hard to say because with the beacon it's instant mining, but this is still a huge area. We'll see how far we can reasonably get it and still have time to build the bridge this episode, but we're gonna go on stream and dig until we can't dig anymore. So if you wanna check it out, it's already happened obviously when you're watching this, but if you'd like to check it out, the VOD will be available on my Twitch channel. We're gonna go live, do a bunch of digging, and then I'll check back in before we start building the actual bridge itself. It's funny, the bridge is kind of like the topic of the episode, or like, you know, it's the big shiny moment, but it's probably going to be the least work. I mean, the ender farm, even though it's just stone, it's still over the void, and you have to get like an endermite and stuff. It's super finicky, and then this is a massive area to excavate. And then this bridge itself, realistically, is like, what, 27 blocks across? So even if I go super intricate with this thing, it's going to take way less time than the rest of this stuff, but sometimes that's the way it goes. Sometimes the project is kind of all the little bits around the build is what takes up all your time. It's just kind of an interesting thing. All right, links in the description if you want to follow me there. Again, I try to do community posts, so hopefully you catch that and you don't miss this one, but let's get to it. We've got a lot of work to do. I'll see you in a minute. And there it is. A really, really big hole in the ground. Woo-wee. That was a lot of digging. On the stream, I think we got about like halfway through it. We got maybe just to here, just past where the actual bridge is gonna go. And then, whew, I just ground the rest of it out. I just buckled up and dug. I watched a lot of Twitch streams, watched a lot of YouTube videos, listened to some music, and just got in the zone and stayed up far too late a couple nights. But the end product, oh, it's so worth it. This thing is massive. I know you can see it in the time lapse, and it's almost definitely going to be the thumbnail for this video, but not one block out of place. Yeah, anyway, I know you can see it in the time lapse, and I know you can see it in the thumbnail for this video, but honestly, if you're not in first person perspective and walking through this thing, you really just can't I mean, this thing, this is definitely the biggest thing I've ever done in Minecraft, easily. Just in terms of just size. I mean, this is a huge area. I mean, just this little crevice at the bottom of it is like 3 or 4 high, right? So you can imagine, you know, it's like 30 blocks high here, and I don't know how many blocks long this thing is. It's huge. And honestly, when I got to the end, I thought it would look cool if it went just like another 30 blocks into the big forest, but no, I had to call it somewhere. This is long enough to sell the effect and still get this episode out at a reasonable hour. The bridge is going to have really, I think I've gone back and forth on like a few different bridge designs. I really like a nice curved bridge. It's looking straight up in the air, 40 blocks. Yeah, you know, up there. Anyway, I like a curved bridge effect, but I think this one is going to be flat top and then like really long support legs that come way down into the canyon. Hopefully they don't look too ridiculous because they're going to be, yeah, what, 40 blocks long, the support for it? And then probably just some like under the bridge decoration in terms of like block palette, maybe throw some wood and stone. It's going to be, you know, similar block palettes to the woodcutter. I think the villager area is going to be a more modern, like Boston or Philadelphia city-based area for sure. I love that idea. And you know what? It's just not something I've ever done. And every time I see someone building in that style, look at that beautiful sun shaft shining into the canyon. Anytime I see someone building those build styles, I'm just like, oh, I would love to do that. I would love to be able to walk through like a town center like that with like the big old marble, like domed buildings and the big stone steps and stuff. And then even maybe some like high-rise city, you know, skyscrapers or something that were in there. But I do want it to still follow kind of our old war theme. So they'll be like, you know, decrepit or, you know, they'll be like repurposed, right? It won't be a modern building anymore. It'll be like, you know, a blacksmith setting up shop in the basement of a skyscraper or something funny like that, you know? We can play with it some. But yeah, the canyon, whew, we dug it. It's a really big hole and I love it. Honestly, I just love walking through here. This cave is actually the cave that we first came to when we found this area to build in. I think it was like episode 2 or something like that. It goes way down to bedrock and even deeper. You can see some of our blocks from before. There's a random sand block there and some cobblestone. I think we explored that way mostly when we were mining, but yeah, kind of cool. I didn't even really realize what cave it was until I was digging this section out and I looked down and went, oh yeah, I've been here before. Yeah, pretty cool. It's so funny. This is like the most time probably I've spent in one world. Oh, I don't know. It's hard to say. I've had some worlds that lasted a while with other people, but in terms of just myself exploring and living in a Minecraft world, this is definitely, if it's not already there, it's getting very close to the most time in one world for me. And I'm like learning the topography, if that makes sense. So like, I don't have to like look at my map or my coordinates or anything like that for like directional stuff. I just kind of know where stuff is now. Like I know the direction of everything. I just kind of like have a feeling for where stuff is now. I mean, obviously in our little immediate area. If you go outside of that, you know, I could easily get lost, but yeah, this thing is awesome. And honestly, it's so cool that I feel like we need to do more with it. I don't have an idea yet, but you guys have some cool ideas for like, I don't know, maybe like a little like hole in the wall shop or something, some little goblin that lives down here selling like enchanted books or crystals or something. I don't know. It just feels like we could do something cool with the canyon. I thought about like putting some like walking paths down here, like hikers going through a canyon. I don't know. I gotta spitball it, but we've got this huge, beautiful thing in our world now, and I really want to make sure we utilize it and are able to explore it some. It's not easily traversed, I wouldn't say. But I guess that's the whole point. That's why we're building a bridge. Honestly, I've been just kind of like organizing the materials and moving stuff back and forth, putting stuff away. I really like to stay on top of that stuff when I'm doing big stuff like this because, I mean, you can end up with shulker boxes of materials and stuff everywhere, and it can get like a real nightmare. And I really want to build this bridge because it is really annoying to ride that horse out and around and then all the way back and then out and around and all the way back, and whew. On top of that, we've got a pile of resources. I got rid of our little chest monster by our bed here and buried it underground. I thought, well, I'm probably not gonna have time to run all this stuff back and forth, but yeah, we've got we've got materials for a little while. If I ever need any stone or cobblestone or dirt, we're good. Don't have to worry about that for a long time. Whew. All right, step 1, Ender Farm XP, and we utilized it a lot. Step 2, dig a big hole, a really, really big hole. And finally, step 3, let's build ourselves a little bridge here, and then the path will be completed, asterisk, because I do think we're gonna extend the path that way for the villager-based town, so it'll be like a big intersection here in the middle that kind of, you can go all 3 directions from the one area. I thought about putting the villager town back here in our little valley. I actually like how close these are together to each other. It just really feels like a really tight-knit small world, and I like that feeling. So I think if we can put something pretty decent size over here, I think like the skyscrapers just peeking up, maybe we'll just tuck it behind these mountains or something. Just enough so you can still see it from here. I don't know. We've got a while to think about that because we've got a lot of work to do here still. And before the monsters come out to get me, let's build a bridge and let's ride Birdie across it.
I want you to stay, honey, I want you to stay. I want you to stay, honey, I want you to stay. I know you've been running and I can get you to stay. Every time you leave, well, I just can't wait.
Well, life keeps dragging me on. I've got to go. There's so much to see in this world. I just have to know.
I want you to stay, honey, I want you to stay. I want you to stay, honey, I want you to stay. I'm lost when you leave, waiting to see what this could be. Every time you smile, you know you take me away. There's something I could say, well, hey, I'd say it right here. Every time I leave, I think.
And here it is, the bridge over the canyon. We did it. We got it done. I wasn't sure for a little while there. I thought maybe it was another case of me over-promising and under-delivering, but we got there. And in the end, I absolutely love the result. I mean, this is such a cool view, a massive transformation for the area, and I just love it. That's all there is to it. Let's tie Birdie back over here and get a little look at this thing. So as you can see, we did go with a flat design, and it's gonna be nighttime again. We probably went too hard on the lanterns. I feel like I always do this when I first make a build. I put like lanterns on every post, and then I come back and I'm like, that's too many. So we'll probably just remove every other. Hopefully this is an odd number. I'm about to find out real quick here. Remove those 2. These ones are pretty spaced out. The shorter ends, like the ends didn't work out for like a perfect section, so there's just 2 shorter ones. So that's probably why those lanterns seem too close, but I think we'll leave the rest because this is going to be too much of a gap if we remove the little ones. All right, let's sleep real quick. So yeah, here it is. The path is complete-ish, or at least it's where I wanted it to be back then, but I knew I wanted to do something like this, something big. And obviously this was just not something that could have been done in another episode, but whew, we got it done. So here's the posts. They are a little long. I don't know. I think it almost looks like, I don't know. This probably doesn't make any sense to anyone else, but in my brain, it just has that like exaggerated like steampunk or like fantasy world effect. Like I don't think anyone would ever build such a long post, but I think with the trapdoors and this long pillars over the bridge, I kind of like it. I feel like it's definitely unique, and hey, that's something. We did this kind of, it's just directional stairs and stuff, right? Up close, it doesn't exactly make sense. It breaks in a few spots where you can see trapdoors, but it's got just enough texture to it that from the side it looks good. The stone walls don't look great from this angle. When I was designing it, or when you're building it up on this level, it looks fine, but as you get lower, it looks like this just looks like a row of blocks, I guess. I don't know. We might need to do a little more with the top, Originally, I was gonna do a covered bridge, but I don't know, I couldn't make it work. So we went with a much more simple design because let's be honest, the star of this episode is the canyon, or at least for me it is, because this thing is massive and it is awesome. Floor of the bridge is just spruce boards with some, trapdoors in there for texture. We use these chiseled blocks, which I never really used before, but it felt like the bridge should be a little ornate in some ways. So yeah, that's it. Steps 1, 2, and 3. The Ender Farm, Big Canyon, and the bridge. Got it all done. One more step taken in the old school Let's Play world. Feels good. I know we got away from this place a little bit with Lotus Season 3 starting up, but I just really wanted to get settled in that world too and get to a point where I could feel comfortable kind of going back and forth. But now that we're in a good place in both worlds, I think we may go to an alternating schedule. Now that'll change probably, week over week because, if we have events on Lotus, obviously I'm going to try to make it to those. And it just naturally is going to mean that that video is going to be a Lotus video that week. But for the most part, I'd like to go back and forth. I love playing with those other guys and I love doing stuff in that world, and it's just giving me like a whole new burst of energy for creating videos, and I love it. But I also love this world and I don't want it to stagnate, if that makes sense. I just want to feel like we're still making progress here because this world's going to be around for a really long time and I want it to kind of upgrade with us over time. And if we don't put in some time and put in some work, it'll never get there. Things like this, it's just such a massive change to the world and you just got to put time in and do it. I know it seems like a lot, but think about it. We spent a whole week, or at least I spent a whole week, just working on this, just digging the trench, making the Ender Farm, and building a bridge. And if you take bite-sized chunks of your world like that, you can get a lot done. Now, obviously, if you wanted to set out and build a woodcutter village, a mining colony, a canyon, a bridge, a decorated path, and if you were trying to tackle all that all at once, it is going to be a mammoth task. But if you can just build one cabin that week, think about it. The first few episodes of this entire series, we built one cabin, then we built another cabin, then we built a general store, and then we built a tavern. And it's just, week by week, you just kind of chisel away at it and kind of form the whole place out of clay. And over time, you can end up with something really cool. I actually just like being in this world now. And it's to the point where it just feels like home. It's comfy. I know where stuff is. I know where I've placed stuff and where I've explored. And I know where I want to explore next and what else I want to do in the future. And I've got plans. I have just been absolutely loving making videos and playing Minecraft, and I don't know, I'm in a good place right now, so hopefully that comes across in the videos. We hit 1,000 subs, and that's pretty cool. And hey, if you like this video, maybe you could be number 1,000 and whatever we're on now. Maybe even like the video, I don't know. It's a good idea. But I think that's all we have time for because whoo-wee, this was a big one. This was a big episode, but I had lots of fun making it, and hopefully you had lots of fun watching it. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. Thanks for sticking around. Have a good one. Hey, how's it going? We're back in the old school Let's Play world. You might notice things look a little different around here. The green grass just wasn't doing it for me. There's something about the way the bright green just clashed with this really medieval brick style. So I just replaced it all with coarse dirt. What do you think? I mean, it needs a lot more texture work and stuff, but I think this looks better than the grass did. Hopefully you agree. But anyway, what are we doing today? Honestly, this was kind of one of the big first steps, is I really wanted to get this grass changed out because I don't know what it was, but I couldn't get a feel for what this mining colony felt like with this bright green. It was totally just disrupting my brain, if that makes sense. But now that we have this nice muddy medieval floor, that's gonna work much better. I still want to mix packed mud in here, and I want to mix some the darker mud blocks around the edges and wet spots. But I needed to get a base canvas down to this coarse dirt at least for now, so that while we're building up the area, we've got something a little less vibrant to look at. These are a hard mineral mining, rock picking people, so they need to have their area be a little less pretty and, lively. Today we build the gatehouse to our little sidewind path over here. I've been really excited to get this closed in because that will really lock in the borders all the way around the city. And then instead of doing another build this episode, because I don't think this is going to take me too long, hopefully, I think I want to find a trial chamber and get some wind charges. We don't use our elytra very much around here, but it would be nice to have some wind charges to do some big jumps, because it is nice having the elytra to get on top of builds or get on top of walls when you're working on building stuff. I think wind charges will kind of be a nice intermediate for us. And they're a little less overpowered if you ask me anyway. Plus farming them is a pretty decent effort, so it's a hard to get and a decent reward item, so I think I want to get wind charges. First thing we're going to build is this little gatehouse. I think I want to go diagonal build. Originally, I was going to do similar to these square gatehouses, but I think this is going to be more an unguarded pathway, because I really want to keep this like nice flow through here to the valley. And I'm thinking like this is like a nice, pretty manicured fantasy area in the future. And they wouldn't need like a big brutal gate to defend from that, I wouldn't think. So just like a small little diagonal gate right here with an opening. And then, I don't know, I don't think it's going to even have like a door on it. It might just be like an archway opening, but we'll see as I kind of start putting blocks down. And I want it to go diagonal, I think, which is a little bit scary for me. I am definitely not a diagonal builder. Probably should have put the coarse dirt over to here or something too. Because if we go diagonal, it's going to kind of run to that. We'll see. We got to put some blocks down and see what it's going to look like first, but I think that's what we're going to work on first. Let's get a gate in here. It's going to be similar block palette to the walls, a lot of stone brick, maybe some spruce wood, stuff like that. It's going to match the walls, right? Because it's part of the walls of the city. But again, it's going to be diagonal, and it's not going to be this same like pattern. It's going to be a very different pattern to the rest of the city. So let's start getting some blocks together. I think we need a bunch of bricks, which we should have plenty of stone. Spruce wood, we should have plenty of. And then some like, I don't know, probably spruce fences and other like detail blocks. Let's head back over to Greg's Tavern and put a little supply box together. How's it going, Greg? Long time no see. Scruffy, you doing good? Probably get you some bones. It's been a while since we've really hung out. I don't really have time for a brew right now. I've got stuff going on, but you know, pretty soon I'm gonna get upstairs and start working on that bedroom. Let's get some materials together, throw them in this shulker box, and then head back over there and build ourselves a nice little gatehouse.
I fell apart 1,000 times. I'm tired of thinking it's raining, but something in your eyes is shining on me. You say it's time to let go. I say, where you going with my heart? I'm so afraid of getting lost. Tell me where you going with my heart. I say, where you going? Where you going? Where you going with my heart?
Could have been dreaming. It always felt so real till I woke up and lost all meaning.
And here it is. Pretty happy with how it came out. I still might mix up the block palette a little bit. It's a little bit stone bricky in some areas. I think we can mix in some like cracked bricks probably here and there. And maybe even like, sometimes I like to, let's see if I have any stone stairs in here. Sometimes I like to throw just like a random upside down stair just to get you like a little bit of depth. Is that too much? It's tricky because we're on a diagonal, right? So we need to mirror that. So let's see, this is the front. I think it would be this block. Don't mind this guy. I'm not sure where he came from, but he's here to stay. So enjoy the view. We'll throw a block there so you can't see. I don't know. I think that's worse. Maybe if we do one more, 1, 2 here, that would still give us just a little bit like that. It's not bad. Anyway, I want to play with it a little bit and try to get like a little bit more detail in here, but for now, I think this is, you know, acceptable. A little bit of depth. Yeah, I think we can do a little bit more with like slabs and, you know, it's the archway of the gate itself isn't too bad, but it is a little flat on top, I think. So maybe we could raise this up a little bit. It's a work in progress, but I think it gives us a nice little archway that leads to our valley here off into the distance. And that's what the goal was. This kind of helps complete our sealing in of the city. Now this city is totally bordered up and we can start throwing down some builds inside the walls. I do think I want to build I know I talked about building the jail, but I think I want to come build the residence for the workers first. I don't know. I just feel like it feels kind of weird to not have a place to sleep. I've been like sleeping in a bed over there underneath the iron farm. And I feel like I need to build either the town tavern or something that I can put like a bed in. Because in this world, I like to really treat it like I'm a person surviving in the world, which is why I ride my horse everywhere and I sleep at Greg's. But over here, there's really nowhere to sleep. And I don't really like throwing a bed down on the ground out here. I mean, I did it for the canyon build, and like certain big builds, it's just practical if you're gonna be there for days and days and days grinding it out. But when you're doing stuff like this, it's nice to just walk over here to your bed, hop in, take a little rest. It kind of adds a little bit more atmosphere to the area if you have to like go to the bed, if that makes sense. Now I realize, once again, there's certain efficiencies, and yeah, I carry an ender chest with a bed in it if I really have to sleep and I don't want mobs to spawn. But it's kind of nice to like, oh, I have to go in there and lay in that bed to sleep. Or if I want to get my materials, I have to get on my horse and ride over to my trade area at Greg's house. So there's a little bit of like time cost, but not in a way that's like, I don't know. It's not in a way that makes me want to play the game less. It's just in a way that like adds more depth to the world. So instead of me just like placing blocks and painting in this, I mean, I could play creative mode if I was gonna play creative mode, right? But in this way, I'm able to like ride my horse and exist in the world that I'm making, if that makes sense. I want to experience it and explore it as much as I want you guys to see it and explore it, because I like being in it. Every time I come back to this world, I feel like I'm at home. And I feel like I have that feeling because I exist and live in it so much. That'll do for now. I think that's a pretty nice looking little gatehouse. I realize it's not the most fortified defensible thing, but I don't know. Maybe they're not a warring mining colony. Maybe they're so rich that they never really need to shut the gates. That's why there's no gate doors or anything. But I think this is a cool little piece. I think it'll look good from over on the wall or on top of the melon farm. So, and the next thing I want to do this episode is I want to find a trial so that we can set up a quick and dirty little breeze rod farm. Because like I said earlier, I think it would be really fun to have wind charges in our world, and I want to get some. So we need to go over to our little villagers in this rock. Or actually, I think we have a couple villagers left over in the woodcutter village that are like on, you know what? No, we should convert one of these guys. We got to get a little cartographer stable and see if we can get one of these guys to trade us a trial map. Like I was just saying, if we want to get a trial map, or if we want to get a cartographer stable, we got to run over to our storage. So we hop on Birdie and go for a nice little cruise. And this is what I'm talking about when I say like existing in the world. We built this beautiful path. We dug a canyon through the landscape. We built a bridge over it. Why not ride across it on your horse? All right, so we've been kind of stockpiling some emeralds from our melon and pumpkin farm over there. We've got a decent little pile in here. We got a stack there, and I think I have another stack here in my inventory. And then we've got some pumpkins and melons here to get a few more emeralds. What's a cartography do? Oh, we probably have to make a map. Sugarcane. Oh, we're low on sugarcane. Not that that matters too much for us right now, but something of note. There it is, cartography table. You just need paper, it's not maps, okay. So there's our cartography table. Put that in there, that in there. So this, we can use this to convert the villagers, and then if we don't get the trade we want, then, you know, we can just try to convert another one. We'll bring some emeralds. Let's go trade these melons and pumpkins real quick. Do you have any more melons? 10. I think it's 9 melon slices to make one. There you go. Let's go trade these pumpkins and melons, get some more emeralds, and then head over to our little villager rock over there and see if we can get someone to trade us a trial map. Look at that. First try. Trial Explorer map. Oh, we need a compass. Whoops. Let's see. Hopefully we have... What is it? Compass. Where did I put that? Did I make a crafting table a second ago? Gosh dang it. Well, first, Trial Explorer map. Bam. Just like that. This might be kind of far away. Obviously, this world was started before 1.21. Hopefully that doesn't actually like break these maps. I'm hoping this isn't going to point me to where it would have generated one, and it's pointing me to one that actually exists, but we're about to figure that part out. We don't need to carry around all this emeralds. Redstone dust, put that back in the redstone box. We got some extra glass from this guy. We'll just hold on to that in here for now. I don't want to carry around all this stuff, especially going into a trial chamber. We really don't want anything extra. I'm still running the no armor texture pack, so even though we have our armor on, it doesn't look like I'm wearing it because I like to see my skin, which I think I've said before, but that's why we're like this. For now, that'll be good. We've got our Trial Explorer map, stone, arrows, bow, our gear. We should be good. That should be all we need. We got a bed. Put this stuff back in our ender chest. Alrighty, we've been due for a good adventure. Go grab Birdie and head out. I have no idea how far this is going to be. And we also may not be able to... Maybe we should have made a fence post. Remind me to put this fence post back. We might end up having to tie up Birdie here at some point, so I need to have something I can tie him to. Well, unfortunately, I think this is going to be too far for our friend Birdie here. We're going to have to bring him back over to Greg's and grab our wings, I think. Unfortunately, we've kind of explored a decent amount of area around here, so I think our trial chamber is going to be really far away. Oh, we got to be careful over here. It's a bit of a drop. I wonder who put this hole here. All right, it was a decent little flight over here. We definitely would have had a hard time getting Birdie all the way over here, but it's not too bad. So like we'll probably hang out for a little while once we get the breeze rod farm set up. But I don't think, having to come out here every so often to stock back up on them is going to be too bad. It was like probably 4 rockets I think I used. I glided quite a bit, but of course those things are right under the deepest mountain. You know what? Actually, I bet that lake is close enough. Oh, it's actually, no, look at the map. It's kind of in the water. That's perfect. So that means it won't be too deep. We brought a bucket of water. I think we'll make a little drop into it. Seems to be the best method. I'm not sure if these maps, I'm not sure if this map is showing me the center of the trial or if it's like the quote unquote desired entrance. I'm wondering. So if that is the trial chamber, I think I want to dig like maybe right here just so we don't have to deal with the water. And we'll dig a 4x4 all the way down so that we can kind of drop from here. So when we come back later, put some torches here so we don't lose our little hole. Then we'll just dig a 4x4 all the way down and then drop our bucket of water so that it's safe. Plus, digging a 4x4 like this is kind of the safest way to dig straight down. That way, if there is a giant cavern here, we're not dropping straight into it on accident. But according to this map, the chamber is kind of in this direction, but I think we'll go a decent amount deeper before we start digging out. It seems silly that we aged all that copper and stuff that we never ended up using. And now you can get like a bunch of it from these chambers. All right, an underground wet area. This isn't ideal, but I think we can just kind of fill this in and move on with our lives. I'm not sure if trial chambers have like a normal Y depth, but the couple that I've been in on the Lotus server have been pretty deep. So I don't think they were quite in deep slate, but they were like right at that line for like Y0, the ones that I found. So if we hit deep slate, I think that'll be our little indication that we should dig kind of in the direction of the map. So let's see, what's our map say? This way. So let's take this map and just dig this way a little bit. I don't want to dig too far down and then go right by it either. It's kind of what I'm a little bit concerned about. Oh my Lord. What a nightmare. This has got to be so, how deep is this? -29. This thing must go all the way to bedrock. All right, for now, let's just, we got dirt, torch, torch. This is our exit hole. When we get this thing cleared out and kind of explored, we can come back and make a better in and out entrance. I dug like down and then over and then down and then over, and I was digging all over the place trying to find this stupid hole. But here it is, a trial chamber. Let's set our spawn first. Make ourselves a little safety spot here. Put our bed here. Build. Probably should have brought more wood, in hindsight. All right, let's dump everything in here that we don't need or fighting in the chamber. Then we'll grab the blocks that we actually want when we leave. All right, our only objective in here is to get breeze rods. So we're probably just gonna block up any spawner that's not a breeze spawner for now and just kind of save it for later. We'll probably hang out here for a little bit and do maybe like 2 or 3 cycles and just get like a decent little stockpile of breeze charges because you do go through them pretty quickly. It takes 30 minutes for one of these spawners to kind of spawn more stuff again after you've like defeated all of the monsters that come out of it. So we'll probably hang out here and get like maybe a few stacks of breeze rods and then we'll kind of move on from there. I know this is a battle room, so first things first, we got a spawner there. Looks like it's zombies, which are especially scary in here because they tend to spawn mostly baby zombies. I think that might be our first breeze one right there, actually. So that's perfect. We'll run over here and block this one real quick. It's going to see us, so we're going to get one spawn cycle. And again, I'm really mostly just worried about getting it blocked off. Then we can just kill these 2 guys, and we're safe. So now that this thing can't see us, that's how the new spawners work. If it can't visibly see you, then it won't spawn anything. So that one's safe now. So we're actually going to block up the breeze spawner because they're a little bit annoying to fight. You know, actually, we'll just fight them, and then we'll block it off after and mark it. Because the way I do it is I build like a little shelter around the spawner, so that future breezes, the only way they can spawn is to spawn in the little box I build. You'll see in a second here. So breeze charges will actually activate traps. That's why they put these buttons all over the room, so that when the breeze launches their stuff off, it kind of hits the buttons. All right, so this is how I typically kind of spawn up or spawn proof a spawner. So this thing will only spawn mobs if it can see the block that it's spawning on. So typically I give it 3 options. It can spawn here, here, or here. And then in front of that is just a wall. Like that. So now the breezes can spawn here, here, or here. And then we just block this up so that none of the loot or anything kind of spills out, if that makes sense. Then we'll go to this side, do the same thing, block it up. And you got a little spawn chamber. Should have grabbed more blocks. All right, so now they can spawn in here, but they can't get out. And the breeze charge itself doesn't really do much damage. There's really no reason to put like slabs or trapdoors because they can't hit you anyway. So then now when we come back here in the future, we just come up here, kill them as they spawn, grab the breeze rods, and move on with our life. I will put some torches up just so it's easy to find. And let's go block up these skeleton spawners, just so that when we do come here in the future, it's not something we really got to worry about. We got a double spawn there. Wasn't my intention to fight this many. That and that. Okay. We'll come back through probably with some ominous potions and fight these things on the harder mode, just to see if maybe we get lucky and get a mace in here. I'd love to have a mace. It's not the most practical weapon, but they're fun to play with. We don't really need... Actually, let's just eat this chicken. We don't need it, but you might as well use it up, right? So we got 11 breeze rods. That's about typical. If you come in here and you've drank an ominous bottle, you'll get like 2 or 3 more spawns out of each spawner. So you can get like half a stack-ish if you come here prepared. That's it for this room. I'm gonna keep searching around and find a few more of these breeze spawners. Whoa, I've never seen a flooded room before. I've done a decent amount of these at this point, like 5 or 6, and I've never seen a room like this that's all flooded like this. So it looks like we got a little bit unlucky and we only got 2 breeze spawners in this trial. It's not ideal, but it's better than none, I guess. The good news is these trial chambers spawn like pretty frequently, so there's probably another one within a few hundred blocks of here. So we just need to get more maps and try to find a couple more, hopefully nearby, that also have some breeze spawners in them. But even with just the 2, if we hang out for a little bit, kill a few runs of them, we can get some breeze rods. I don't think I'm actually gonna hang out now that I'm here for a little longer, but this is going to be over a stack. We'll save 1. There's no reason to save 1. So we've got a stack and a half of wind charges. That's a decent little chunk. So when we run through these, we'll have to come back here, visit, kill some more breezes. This will be a good reason for us to kind of stretch our legs and use our elytra. I know Birdie's not a fan of us getting the wings on, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So here's the spawner. And the other one I think is almost exactly opposite of it. So I think if we just run back this way, and we got to drop down, unfortunately. So it's not the most navigable. Anyway, it's hard to get back and forth. But the other spawners right over here, kind of in this chamber, which we blocked off these spawners too. We also got kind of bad luck. We didn't get any slime spawners, which I was kind of hoping for, to get some easy slime balls. And then it's kind of nice to have the bog skeletons because you can get poison arrows from them. And I just kind of like using the poison arrows. But what should we take back with us? We're going to need our elytra, our rockets. That's all we can carry. We'll leave our bed and our chest and our crafting table here. And we'll head back to the surface. Put our elytra wings. Actually, you know what? We don't even need our elytra wings because we've got wind charges. So I put all these torches here. Must be where I got in. I jumped right here. So if you haven't really played with these before, wind charges that is, they activate buttons, as I was talking about with the traps. They also open and shut doors. Oh. Like that. And then obviously the most important part is they launch you in the air. And you don't take fall damage either, which is pretty nice. Another little fun thing you can do with these is you can actually kind of wall jump with them. So I can crouch jump, and then if I just keep spamming these up this wall, you can actually get up like a pretty scalable area. Oops. See, that's the most dangerous part right there, is if you go too high, each time, like, so if I do that, no fall damage, right? But if I do that and then I wall jump halfway up, that resets my fall damage to wherever I did it again. So you gotta be really careful when you're doing the wall jump part, but it is technically effective for climbing up a steep cliff, if I can, not suck at it. All right, this one, if I remember right, is quite a bit deeper, so we'll use rockets for here. There it is. Should be pretty easy to find in the future. It's this nice big old lake. Let's head back home and take care of our spoils. Kind of a cool little mound here. You ever played the mod Twilight Forest? There's like a big Hydra boss you can fight, and it always spawned in a big old like dirt mound like that. That's what it reminds me of. I keep noticing this little pointy bit here now that I've got some wings on. Right where we left you, birdie. We'll go put our wings back up on the shelf and ride back over to the mining colony. It always feels good to come back to the old school world. We got our gate built. We replaced all the lush green grass in our mining colony with the beautiful mud to signify our dirt and rocky colony. We flew over to the trial chamber and got some breeze rods, so now we've got extra mobility. And next episode, we build some serious buildings inside these walls, I think, because it's time to start really filling this place out. My goal is still to have the mining colony complete by episode 20. And we're only 3 episodes away. We've got a lot of building to do between now and then, and I couldn't be more excited for it. Greg, it has been a while since I've had a Greg's brew. What do you say? I think I'll take 2. Yeah, we got the gatehouse built. Yeah, we flew over to the trial chamber, did some stuff. It was pretty cool. What? You want to know when I'm going to move out of the basement? Well, I mean, where am I going to go, Greg? This is where I sleep. Yeah, I am going to build your room. I'm working on it. I've got to get the plans together. It's going to be bigger and badder than ever, right? I mean, I can't just throw something like that together when it's so important. Thanks, Greg. I knew you'd understand. No, I don't have any money for the Greg's brews. If you made it this far in the episode, I appreciate you. Thanks for sticking around. Have a good one. Morning, Greg. What am I up to today? I think it's finally time we built the living quarters over in the mining colony. I'm gonna have to head down into the mines though. We're gonna need a lot of tough. I got this new method for combining these tough blocks into these like tough bricks. I think they got a pretty nice curb appeal. So I think I'm gonna try to use that with this build. We'll see. Yeah, it's gonna be a long day. I'll probably be down there the whole day. Man, weather's starting to change, Greg. I feel the cool breeze. I think fall's on the way. I don't know about you, but I'm excited for it. Alright. I better get off to work. No breakfast today, Greg. I'll see you later. Now that was a tough day. You know, Greg, I actually don't mind it that much. There's just something peaceful about being down in the mines all by yourself. I don't know, it really helps me clear my headspace. Yeah, I think I got all the stuff I needed. Tomorrow it's out into the woods. It's probably going to take me a few days though. We're going to need quite a bit of spruce. That's alright, that forest needs some cleaning up anyway. I better head off to bed and get some rest. Thanks for the brews. Thanks for the food. I'll see you tomorrow, Greg. Night, Scruffy. Well, we got all the stuff we needed down in the mines yesterday. Today, we're off into the woods. We're gonna need a whole lot of spruce wood for these living quarters. My goal is to get it done in the next couple days because I'd like to really start that work site by the end of this week. Anyway, weather's changing. Better get these trees cut down before it gets too cold out there. Alright, I'm heading out, Greg. See ya. It is cooling down quick. I gotta put on some layers. There, that should be much better. I'll see you around, Greg. Hey Scruffy, how you doing? That was a rough day. I think I'll take some nice hot soup. Weather's changing. Rain came in. Just stuff that did not go right for me today. But we got the wood we needed. And I'm hungry. Alright, I better get some rest. I think I'm going to be spending the next few days over at the mining colony getting those living quarters built. Might even work a few overnights if I really get ambitious. Night, Greg. Night, Scruffy.
May God have mercy on us all. Oh, sister, let's go down to that river there. Bathe in that cool water. Forget about all our cares.
Man, this one was a lot of work. I didn't give them much interior decorating, but the workers have a place to sleep now. And now that they've got a place to rest, I think it's time I head back to Greg's and get a little rest for myself. This project was big, and I'm tired. Thanks for sticking around. Have a good one.
May God have mercy on us all. Oh, sister, let's go down to that river there. Bathe in that cool water. Forget about all our
Well, it's finally time to build the prison. Before we can get to that, we gotta go to my least favorite place of all. We gotta head to the end. I hate going there, but the enchants I have on these tools, they just seem to soak up that essence those Endermen drop. Creeps me out every time, and that ladder scares me half to death. Not to mention jumping off that cliff just to get in the place, but we gotta do what we gotta do. Let's head out. Have a good day, Scruffy. Have a good day, Greg. Yep, we're heading to the end. I know, I hate the place too. Have a good one. I never have liked going to the end. The place always gives me the creeps. I mean, first of all, just getting in the place. Jumping off that cliff. I've probably done it 100 times now. Still scares me every time. And then, once you get in there, this massive ladder that climbs down deep into the void. Below the world. Below everything it feels. And then the Enderman. Oof. They always creep me out. Harmless as long as you don't look at them. Man, pretty hard to look away sometimes. Alright, now that horrible business is complete, it's time to head over to the mining colony and start working on the ground prep. I think the first thing we're going to do is move the current prisoners into a temporary holding area. And then we'll kind of get an idea of the space we're working with. I think I already got most of the materials gathered, but I want to get a good survey of the area before we get building. I'll see you over there. I really do love this path we've created here. Traveling between the mining colony and Greg's is just so much more pleasant. As many trips as we make back and forth, it's nice having a good path. help you? What are you doing up there? Alright, I guess. Good luck. Now I know what you're thinking. This place doesn't look the most humane, but we didn't have a lot of time to put it together. We're making it better now. Alright, the site's all ready to start building. You see, the mining colony here gets all its workers from the nearby towns. They send all their petty criminals and wannabe thieves here. Mining colony gets a little hard labor, and they help clean up the area a little bit. It's a win-win. A lot of these guys are hard up for cash, and honestly, a lot of them end up just staying. Alright, I'm gonna head over to Greg's Tavern and grab our materials from the basement. Then we'll start building. The new prison's no 5-star tavern, but it's better than a hole in the ground, and it's better than a hollowed out boulder.
Put your lips on mine. I love it when we hide in the pale blue sky, floating on cloud 9. Do you feel the winds are turning round? 'Cause what goes up must always come back down. I'll be safe in your arms, like the light in the day never part. I'm looking down the line, with you by my side I'll be fine. To earth, it's just as good as up there. I'm gonna keep you near, 'cause you're all I need, my dear. Do you feel the winds are turning round?
Brick by brick, we're bringing this mining colony back to life. It hasn't been easy. It hasn't been fast. We're getting there. A couple more weeks, we'll get the general store in, and we'll get the mines up and running for good.
I'm looking down the line, with you by my side I'll be fine. Yeah, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Yeah, I'll be fine. Yeah, I'll be fine. Yeah, I'll be fine. Come back down to earth.
It really is easy to look at this world and think, man, I can never do that. But really, anyone can. You just gotta put a little time in. Enjoy the process. And don't beat yourself up too much. As long as you keep placing blocks, it'll get there.
Always come back down. But I'll be safe in your arms, like the light in the day never part. I'm looking down the line, with you by my side I'll be fine. Yeah, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Yeah, I'll be fine. Yeah, I'll be fine. Yeah, I'll be fine. Yeah, I'll be
Prison's done, interior's done. Time to put some more miles on Birdie. We gotta head back over to Greg's and get some materials to move the prisoners, into the prison. I'm gonna go grab that stuff and get them moved.
Heat of the summer over desert land, where the sun beats down like a cattle brand. No sign of water, but you quench my thirst. You're the only one living, and still you burn. You're a sight to see, so fierce, so free, such a mystery. Keep going.
And there it is. Now the mining colony has a place to keep the prisoners, at least until they're rehabilitated enough to move into the barracks. I think the next thing we're gonna have to build for them is at least some kind of general store, and maybe even another tavern. Every town's gotta have one. That's all we got time for today. Thanks for sticking around. Have a good one.
You're my cactus flower.
Hey, how's it going? It's finally time to wrap things up at the mining colony. We gotta get the general store built, and then put some focus in on the mine itself. But before we can get to that, as usual, we're gonna need some more materials. I need to head out into the spruce forest and cut down some of these spruce trees. We're also gonna need to grow some dark oak wood. We'll have to do that in our little tree farm though. There isn't really a good forest nearby. Once we get all that done, we'll head over towards the mining colony. Start setting up shop. This is kind of an end of a chapter here. Gonna be time to move on to the next thing after this. But first things first, let's get it done. Morning, Greg. Heading back out into the forest. Gotta do some material collecting before I head over to the colony. Yeah, I heard they found something down in the mines. I'll have to check it out. Those mines are a little sketchy though. I think I need to put in some support beams or something. Yeah, I'll check it out when I'm there. First, I gotta get this general store built though. Now that a lot of the prisoners are moving into the barracks and staying in town, there's been a lot higher demand for basic supplies, so we gotta get that up and running. Have a good day, Scruffy. I'll see you around. Good afternoon, Maggie. I brought you some melons. Can't stand the things. I am willing to trade for some of those golden carrots. Yeah, I've been working up quite an appetite. It's been a busy day out gathering wood. Still got a lot more spruce to gather after this, so it's gonna be a late one. Pretty nice view here from the shop, Maggie. I don't stop in here enough. Hope you're doing good. Anyway, I ought to get back to work. I'll see you around.
Today there's trouble in my heart, love abides no more. I see that sorrow is your best friend, and at your table I'll sit no more.
There's always something so relaxing about chopping down trees. I don't know if it's working with your hands or just being out in the woods, but it really gets my head straight.
Don't you know you're well acquainted? They've come and gone.
Good evening, Greg. Yep, I'm gonna need a couple tall glasses of Greg's brew and some of that delicious soup. Off to the colony in the morning to start working, but tonight I just want to have a few Greg's brews, eat some soup, and relax. They're still going on about that portal, huh? Something's different about it, I guess. Huh. Yeah, I'll check it out, but I really don't like going through those portals. One in the basement's bad enough. Feels a little strange to be closing this chapter in the world. I've been here so long working on this one area that it's not going to feel the same when we go to the next spot. But I'm sure after time, we'll say the same thing about that one.
These days are running slow. Sunsets and shores far from home. Headlights are shining on the sea. No place on earth I'd rather be. And I could try to just follow the swell, but I'll never find this anywhere else. To all those places on the wall, and none come close to this, I'm sure. You try to say the sunrise the same, but tell me, have you ever danced in the rain? And I could try to just follow.
A lot of good memories here in the mining colony, but this won't be goodbye forever. After all, we're gonna have to stop in to get Maggie's melons. And we're definitely gonna need more iron out of that farm.
And I could try to just follow the sweat, but I'll never find this anywhere else. I'll never find.
All right. The town's got food, water, security, and shelter. That about wraps things up around here. Don't mind me, guys. Just trying to film here. It can be a little awkward filming in public like this sometimes. I think the last thing I do before I get out of town is I gotta secure up these walls in the mines. They say they found some different type of portal down there, and I don't know if I want to mess with that today, but we can at least make the mines a little safer for them. I advise they stay away from that portal, though. It doesn't feel right to me. Luckily, we got some materials left over from the shop. I think we can get the mine supports up pretty quick, so we'll knock that out. Yeah, they definitely found something. This thing's old. I don't know how to explain it, but the noise coming from this one, it's just not the same as the one in Greg's basement. Not really sure where this one goes, but I'm not stepping through it. But yeah, look, come in here and you'll hear it. See, it's got a different hum to it. I don't like it. I'm gonna get out of here. And there it is. The last thing checked off our list for the mining colony. Now sure, over time, if they find something precious down there in the mines or for whatever reason we need to expand, we could always come back later and keep working on it, but I think they're set up pretty good here, and we gotta start getting a trade village set up to the east. We got roads to build, housing, and some kind of market. If we can get all that set up, we'll start bringing in a lot more people from neighboring areas. Brick by brick, we're bringing this whole area back to life. I'm proud of what we've done so far, but I can't wait to do more. If you like following along this journey, I'd appreciate it if you could like the video. Subscribe if you want to see some more. And if you made it this far, I appreciate you. Have a good one.
This anywhere else. Try to just follow the sweat, but I'll never find this anywhere.